everyone, and welcome to a new episode of Video Game Movie Podcast, the musical. Ba 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 ba. So yes, today we are talking about Free Guy, and who are we? Well, I am Rory Jocelyn from Cyberpunk Studios, and with me today is Jamie Evans from Impala Films, who's just dropped his whiskey.
I am Jamie Evans from Impala Films, and this episode is coming out on... What day
Friday.
Is it?
Yeah.
No, go on, I need to know.
11th? 11th, I think?
So, basically, not too late for me to plug the fact that on the 20th of March, Impala Films will be releasing Haunted, the audio drama. You can find the trailer over on our YouTube channel. My co-host, Mr. Jocelyn, is an actor in the first season of Haunted, the audio drama, specifically in the 6th story of the season. And please go and check that out so that I don't have to work on this awful show anymore.
It's safe to say that I steal the show, and I'm taking over as showrunner for Haunted, even though it was created and started by Jamie, because he realises that someone of my magnificence is required to really sell that show.
Yeah.
I'm in one episode.
I mean, you're in multiple parts of that episode.
I am in more than one part of that episode.
You actually, didn't we get you to record a piece for episode 7 as well?
Yes.
I hope we did, because otherwise we've got a whole character who doesn't have a...
Well, to be fair, it was like 2 lines. But, yes.
No. The character I'm thinking of should have been a lot more lines. Oh, no. I think we're going to find we've got a character we haven't...
You did me for a whole episode, and then you did me for...
As a presenter.
Yeah.
We did do you as a presenter.
But it was only like 2 lines.
Maybe I'm mistaken. Maybe that character does only have 2 lines then.
Yeah. Maybe double check, and if you need me to record, let me know. Anyway, today, as I said, we are talking about Free Guy, and like Free Guy, we've just given you like a fourth wall break behind the scenes, that we talk work chatty bollocks. We don't just come around to each other's houses to watch really shit video game movies and talk about them. We actually talk about real films and real stuff, and we gave a glimpse of that during Uncharted and Cuphead as well, where we were talking about some real films.
I thought we were covering Deadpool versus video games today.
We are.
Yep.
Look, not everything Ryan Reynolds not everything Ryan Reynolds does is Deadpool.
No, of course I'm not pretending it is. Just everything he's done since 2016 has been Deadpool.
No.
Yes. All Ryan Reynolds' good movies are pre-2016.
Oh, I don't
to be
like
fair,
it. I don't like
to be
it.
fair, this isn't exactly like Deadpool. This is Deadpool if he was naive as shit.
Yes.
And didn't swear.
Yes.
Much. He does wish the goldfish a good fucking morning.
Yes, he does. He does. Yeah, he doesn't swear that much though, because it's intended for a younger audience than Deadpool.
So let's start with explaining the basic concept of this movie.
Oh wait, before we do that, should I do My American? Or should I do that afterwards?
No, go ahead.
You sure? I don't mind.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
I don't mind going second.
Go ahead. At least I know this one won't be a German box set, because this DVD is actually available in America and Britain.
Yes. Mein Heinrich von Reynolds. No, it's...
Who the fuck is Heinrich von Heine?
No, Heinrich von Reynolds. It's Ryan's name in German.
Heinrich isn't.
Shh. No talking now.
What's Ryan in? What's Ryan in German?
I don't
Randolph?
know. I know what it is in. I know what it is in Irish.
Do you?
Yeah.
Oh, go on.
Ryanair.
Ryanair, the airline.
Yeah.
Come fly with me, let's fly away.
Are you telling me that's not an Irish name?
In my head, that sounded like a fairly good bit of singing, but I bet when you edit that back,
I'm going to loathe it.
I bet it's going to sound more like...
We haven't had a chance for me to do my American. That's really horrid.
Because nobody cares.
Well, do you want to do the American then? I do the American every time. So you just read this bit here.
Well, howdy, y'all. This movie is Ryan Reynolds starring in an action-packed comedy.
That's not
y'all.
a man who reads. Like, you need the voice as if you're selling it for the film.
Okay, hang on. Ryan Reynolds stars in this action-packed comedy as a bank teller who discovers he is actually a background player in an open-world video game. First of all, that should be NPC, know your terminology, and soon decides to become the hero of his own story, one he rewrites himself. Also starring Jodie Comer, Lil Rel Howery, and Taika Waititi, and directed by Sean Levy. Free Guy is rapid fire fun. Right, I don't want to insult someone, but when your name's Lil Rel Howery, you don't belong in movies.
No. However,
Lil Rel.
I have to say, your reading
Freeman
of that reminded me of Morgan Freeman. I expected you to go,
What, a southern accent?
Yes. Well, he's kind of southern, isn't he?
Not southern. I was trying to do hillbilly southern.
You didn't get that far.
Oh, well.
You got to... Because it sounded like you were about to go, Ryan Reynolds was only 35 years old when he entered Shawshank.
Ryan Reynolds said life was like a box of chocolates. So, fun fact, because guess what? I'm going to be able to get a Doctor Who reference in here.
Oh, not again.
Lil Rel, right? In Doctor Who, a rel is how Daleks measure time.
Right.
Yeah, they don't have hours and minutes. They have rels. They've never confirmed how much a rel is in hours
Well,
and minutes.
he's only a little rel.
He's only a little rel.
He's not a big rel.
No.
He's not a whole lot of rel.
Anyway, so this...
Surely a whole lot of rel is a better nickname than little rel.
I'm talking about a whole lot of rel Howery.
That was awful. That was legitimate, objectively bad.
Do you know what song that actually is?
No.
That is Whole Lot of History by Girls Aloud.
So it's also a bad song choice.
Whom I have seen live, not once, not twice. Do you think 3 times? Nah, buddy. 4 times.
Why?
4 times. Because Girls Aloud are fucking awesome.
No. I can't believe this. I can't believe
Girls
this.
Aloud are the most successful girl but all-female band in history.
That says nothing.
That is in the Guinness World Records.
I can't believe this. Last episode, in the Shenmue episode,
How do you not know that I like Girls Aloud? Haven't you ever seen my signed Girls Aloud photo?
No.
Oh, you never came to my old house, did you?
No.
Oh, because I've
you
not...
have a signed Girls Aloud.
I have a photo of the band Girls Aloud and it's signed by them all.
I think this is how someone outs themselves in the modern world, ladies and gentlemen.
I put it on display.
Dude, like,
Girls Aloud are great.
I just edited together the Shenmue episode from last week, right? And you spent you went off on one saying how shit Prodigy are.
Prodigy are shit.
No, How can you say that Prodigy are shit and then say that you love Girls Aloud?
You come back to me when Prodigy have a song as good as Sound of the Underground, Beat of the Drum goes
I'll
round
give
and
you
around.
5 albums.
Not possible because they're shit.
No, you're wrong. I'm not wrong. You are
First of
wrong.
all, how could someone be wrong about something that's a subjective decision?
Because Girls Aloud is objectively bad.
Then how are they the most successful all-female group of all time?
Oh, probably the same way that One Direction are one of the most successful boy bands of all time. They're terrible. But it doesn't matter because little girls wee-weeing in their pants over fucking boy bands, it will sell regardless of the quality of the music.
Prodigy are garbage. They're just...
I can't with you.
I know their most famous song, Firestarter. And it's
which
crap.
is a banger.
And I know their song Smack My Bitch Up.
Do you just not like rebellious streaks?
I love rock and roll. The most rebellious music there is.
No, sorry. By the time we were around, rock and roll was dad's music. It was not rebellious.
It's rebellious for, like, classic music, though.
No, not...
I like heavy metal.
Rock and roll hasn't been rebellious for 50 years.
I like heavy metal.
Last episode you told me you didn't like metal. You argued me that you didn't like metal. Rewind back to Shenmue where he told me he didn't like metal. The Prodigy.
Well, the band The Prodigy.
Yeah.
The only quote I know
Charlie says.
Literally the only quote from Prodigy I know is Smack My Bitch Up.
Yeah.
They're a terrible fucking band.
No.
Oh, wait, you're not allowed to say that, are you? Because one of them's dead.
No, that's not the point. You can never say that. They were a great band.
Prodigy are garbage.
I can't believe... You like metal. They're like the only dance music that metalers love.
I don't like metal.
Yes, you do.
I like classic rock. I don't like super heavy metal where you can't understand what they're saying, but like Avenged Sevenfold. I like Avenged Sevenfold.
I'm still going to put in the clip of you telling me in Shenmue that you didn't like metal, you liked classic rock.
Oh, I prefer classic rock any day.
But you didn't say preferred, you said you don't like metal, and then,
Have you not learned yet that consistency is not in my vocabulary?
Also, we were talking earlier about, like, I was saying about how this particular film...
We weren't going to get into another pointless argument.
So when we were talking towards the end of watching this movie together, I stated that the music in this is very pop generic for today.
Yeah.
And we said that there was a couple of different tracks that would have, like, for example, Evanescence would have been the kissing music in this film about 15 years ago. It would have been.
No, it's not a sad enough film for that.
That's
in an emo movie, it would have been.
No. It would have been in this film 15 years ago.
No, 15 years ago, it would have been Kiss Kiss by my girl Holly Valance. Call back to Dead or Alive. Oh wait, no, Dead or Alive doesn't have cool theme music like Mortal Kombat.
Yes,
so
it
we
does.
can't.
It had an amazing soundtrack.
No, but we can't do a... You can't do
the Mortal Kombat! Well, now we can.
Oh, I'm going to get that into every episode now. That's our gimmick forever. Yeah, when we start making merchandise for this show,
yes.
I'm going to get an artist to do 2 little 16-bit sprites of me and just going to say VGMP, 2 little 16 sprite versions of us, and yours is going to have a speech bubble saying Mortal Kombat, and mine's going to have a speech bubble saying Death to Paul W.S. Anderson. No, better one. It's going to be me and you dressed as Scorpion and Sub-Zero. Yeah, they're cool, right?
Yeah, they're cool.
And it's going to be Paul Anderson and Uwe Boll bleeding to death, and it's going to say finish him.
Yes.
Can we get sued for this?
Possibly.
I take it back.
If you're talking about legitimately killing 2 directors, then
I'm not. It's a joke.
It's a joke. Cool. We've covered ourselves legally. We're fine.
Anyway, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, like, we were talking about how the music in this was generic, and I was like, well... And you said, well, actually, there is no video game movies that have had, like, a heavy pop movie impact on pop culture in terms of their music, and I corrected you saying that actually Mortal Kombat had done that with its EDM soundtrack, and you were like, that doesn't count. I was like, it reached number 1. You've literally used the best-selling band for Girls Aloud.
Yeah, but I disagree that it had an impact. Like, no one likes EDM today.
Yes, they do.
No. Mainstream people. We're not talking about weirdos like you and me.
No. What do you think modern pop music owes its history to? EDM.
Well, no, modern pop music is all mumble rap.
It's not all mumble rap. There's a lot of returns to house piano styles. There's lots of stuff that harkens back to house music right now.
Is this why all modern music's garbage?
For you, yes.
And I don't listen to radios
For you, yes.
Yeah.
But
Pink's still good. Pink's still doing shit.
Yeah, Pink's still doing. She's gone more operatic. She went
Rocky for a while. That was the best Pink.
Yeah. I think that's still the best Pink, but she's gone a bit more rock operatic. So she's still rock, but it's kind of rock operatic. You can tell she's taken a lot of sophisticated style from The World's Greatest Showman.
She's got a great song called "Who Knew" that I really like.
Yeah, well, my girlfriend's starting up a Pink tribute band, so I'm going to be listening to all the bangers.
Yeah, I'll come see. I can come and see.
If you can afford the tickets.
Fucking hell. Charging $50 a head, are we now?
Well, when you've got to pay for quality.
What's on her rider? What does she insist on having before she goes on stage?
All brown M&Ms.
All brown M&Ms. Do they even make brown M&Ms?
I don't know. I'm joking.
I guess they're all brown if you peel the shell off.
That's true. No, so you've got to suck everyone first. That sounds...
Wait, what?
That's not how I meant it.
No, that is exactly how we meant it.
That's not how I meant it.
We're moving on. So, Free Guy. Free Guy is... Right, let's be honest. Like, Free Guy has a really interesting concept. It's... And at the risk of sounding like I'm wishing that a movie was something it never was, it's a kind of concept that would have made a fantastic character study, science fiction, philosophical, what's the meaning of life, what's the meaning of reality, perception is reality kind of thing. Or you could take option 2, which is what the studio did, and make a perfectly inoffensive, generic comedy action film with a less cool Deadpool.
Yes, there was at least 2 opportunities I saw, 2 big opportunities, that this film could have stayed mostly the same, but just done a little twist at one of these 2 segments, and it would have changed the longevity, I'd say, of the film.
One's the coffee shop bit, right?
No.
Like, that was a turning point.
No. The coffee shop bit isn't a turning point because it wasn't a bad scene. It was a good scene. I'm talking about scenes where they could have if they changed the scene to change the vibe of the film from that point, it would have been better.
I was thinking of it as the vibe that's in the coffee shop scene. Which
that was great.
If they'd have carried that vibe on,
that would have been better.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. No. I agree with you on that.
Should we start at the beginning?
Yes. The film starts off with Channing Tatum as a gamer who's playing the game, flying through the air and blowing people up and driving cars and doing all this stuff. And we get Ryan Reynolds voiceovering, explaining that the sunglasses people are basically their role. He explains their role in the film. I don't know why it's so long because I'm guessing it's for people who aren't gamers. Like there's going to be any of them watching, maybe people's parents potentially, but. Essentially, he just explains what gamers do in game world. That's essentially
go around,
GTA.
Collect loot, do missions.
Yeah, it's essentially a loot box GTA clone, open world sandbox. Yeah. And he's got a catchphrase. His catchphrase is "Don't have a good day,
have a great day."
Yeah, which is lovely. And it works its way through.
I can imagine you back when you worked at Car Phone Warehouse saying that to people.
Nope.
Giving them the change and then being like, don't have a good day, have a great day. Unless they bought an iPhone, because those people have made all the wrong choices in their lives.
We didn't sell iPhones in my store.
Good man!
We sold iMacs and iPads, though, and that was the stupidest thing.
In a phone shop?
It wasn't a phone shop at Waitrose. You said at Waitrose.
No, I said at Car Phone Warehouse.
Oh, in which case...
You've just given away 2 parts of your employment history, Rory. I only gave away 1.
Yeah, but they're both in retail, so they don't fucking count. There's... Anyway, we're not doing that anymore. I'm a filmmaker now. That's my job. Anyway, sunglasses people raid the bank that guy works at.
I think arguably your job at the minute actually is podcaster.
Yeah, but I'm doing film on the side.
Yeah, full-time podcaster.
I am full-time podcast, I suppose.
It's a pretty cool thing to be able to say.
It is pretty cool.
/ kind of douchey. Imagine shaking someone's hand and be like, "Hi, Rory Jocelyn, full-time podcaster."
Yeah.
Don't sound right, does it?
Well, it sounds even worse if I go, "Hi, Rory, full-time /."
Full-time /?
Yeah, you said podcaster /. I thought you meant the guitarist from AC/DC?
Guns N' Roses.
Guns N' Roses.
AC/DC.
Same band. All classic rock's the same.
Is it?
Yeah. Well, you say EDM's the same, and you don't even like fucking Prodigy.
That's because EDM don't have any actual fucking instruments in it. It's all electronic.
Except
no,
we
can't do this every week.
No,
Rory.
sorry.
This is going to be another cats and dogs situation in a minute.
I'm wondering if that's why people take us up, though, is that they sit there going, what are they going to bitch about this week?
Remember, no one listened to the Uncharted, which, by the way, guys, seriously,
weird.
We're not mad, we're not angry, we're just disappointed. No, I'm kidding.
No, we're confused.
Honestly, we are confused. If you'd like to email in and tell us
go on the Discord.
Why Uncharted is our least watched episode.
It is, yeah. So we've got in a week and a half, we've had 8 listens on that show.
But right after that, we've got our most
A week later,
we've got our most listened to episode,
Yep.
the fucking Cuphead show.
Yep, and it's done at least 4 or 5 times the numbers, and it's our best episode, like in terms of numbers, in a short period of time.
But I actually think it's one of our worst ones, content-wise.
Oh, I don't know. There's quite a bit of fun.
No, I was
there.
off my game on that one. It peaks
Yeah,
with.
but I was great.
It peaks with jerking off emus and goes right downhill from there.
I think so. I had a couple of responses on Facebook about that.
What about jerking off emus? Did I offend anyone?
No. They just wanted to know how. Talking about why they like Cuphead,
You need a generous amount of lube. And
for Cuphead. But no, basically, a few people on Facebook told me that they were interested in Cuphead specifically because they loved animation, and it's a brand new animation, and Uncharted doesn't fit that theme. That being said, Welcome to Raccoon City was popular, and that was also not an animation.
Which has a hardcore nerd fan base.
That is true.
It sounds to me like what you're saying is we should scrap this podcast and start the animated movie podcast.
No, we just keep it going. I don't want to watch just animated stuff. I'll get bored.
No, me too, because it's not real movies. What? I'm kidding. That was a joke. I was about to make a joke that you won't understand because you don't like Always Sunny, but cut that. And anyone who's been listening to the Always Sunny podcast will know what that's a reference to.
Okay, cool. I don't have a clue, as you previously mentioned.
Basically, it's very simple. They say things that are cancel-worthy jokes on it,
Right.
and they'll say it, they'll laugh, and then one of them will immediately go, cut that, cut that, cut that, cut that, cut that. But the editor never cuts it. They just leave it in. Basically, we're in San Andreas, right?
Yep.
Or Vice City. It always reminded me of Saints Row. This film did a bit, because it's a bit wackier.
It's more
than...
Saints Row, yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's people with jetpacks and all sorts of shit.
Yeah.
Which...
And to be fair, I'll give them this. This opening sells the concept.
Oh, yeah.
Because you've got plenty of things like, there's a bit where Ryan Reynolds is just walking down the street and you notice that all the NPCs have all got very limited dialogue they can say.
Yeah, and there's people trying to jump up walls and glitching.
People trying to jump up walls. There's a great big fucking tank rolling down the back.
The tank, the Scorpion tank from Halo is actually in the background of one of the shots.
Won't be our last direct video game reference.
No, there's plenty.
There's a little car. It looks like a Toyota Yaris, but I could be wrong.
It looks like a smart car to me.
A smart car, and that's changing colour as if the person playing is cycling paint
custom
jobs
colours.
on it.
Yep.
And none of the NPCs seem to recognise any of it. Like, it's just normal to them.
Yeah, that's just their normal day. And you are right, it sells the concept. I'd say the first half of this film, if not the first quarter or first third, is really well done.
Yeah.
Selling the concept.
Yeah, I mean, it's still generic.
Yeah, no, but it sells the concept. It's successful at what it's trying to do.
Yes. And Ryan Reynolds, who's appropriately named Guy, get it? The title's got a double meaning, because it's like free guy because he's finally free, but also free guy as in we want to break him free.
Yes.
Anyway, so he works at the bank.
It wasn't that subtle, to be honest.
He works at the bank with his best friend Buddy, who's played by Lil Rel Howery.
Yep.
So I said Lil.
Yes.
Lil Rel Howery.
Oh, you mean
Budget Kevin Hart.
Yes.
Which is probably a horrible thing to say.
No, he's very much clearly playing Kevin Hart.
Like, there are, in the comedy scenes.
Yeah.
He blatantly is emulating Kevin Hart.
Hey,
maybe that's a game reference. He's emulating.
Hey. The only thing is,
So every day, this bank gets robbed. Because this bank is clearly... Robbing the bank is a mission that the players can do.
Yes.
So every day, the bank gets robbed, and Guy's whole job is he just lays down on his stomach and takes it, right?
Yep.
While he's laying there talking to Buddy, he mentions that he's getting fed up, he thinks there's more to life, and we realise he dreams of meeting this girl, but it's not a specific girl, like Buddy tells us, doesn't he? She's a fantasy. He's never met this girl yet. And at this point, we then cut over to see Jodie Comer in what I do believe is her first big Hollywood role. I could be wrong, but I think it is. Earlier this year, 2022, no, lying, late last year, 2021, she was in Ridley Scott's movie, The Last Duel, which I haven't seen yet, but apparently she's very good in it.
Well, it's apparently a very good film, and he's pissed off that people didn't watch it. However...
Because they're too dumb to understand.
Yeah, I actually think it was a mistake on his part to a degree, though I can imagine it's not his fault entirely.
I mean, it was marketed like garbage, let's be honest.
But I think the other thing as well is, unfortunately, old historical movies like that are mostly interesting to older audiences. And at the time he released it, people were still worried very strongly about COVID.
Yeah.
So the older audiences were the ones not going to the cinema.
That
and it was
should have
the
gone
youth.
To streaming.
Yeah. It was the youth that were going to cinema, and they weren't going to go and watch a medieval movie when they could watch something big bang explosions.
I think it was out at the same time as Spider-Man.
Yeah, well,
which is
had no chance. Had no chance.
Spider-Man is a juggernaut at the minute, isn't it? Like, I mean, it's on track. It might even be there now, but it was on track last week.
To being number one ever.
Yeah.
Money. Yeah.
So anyway, I just want to sell this little cameo here because this is one of the few times I know a piece of trivia that Rory didn't. So we see Jodie Comer. And first of all, I'd just like to say, I think her outfit's pretty cool. Her in-game outfit. That's a pretty cool kick-ass girls.
Nice butt.
Kick-ass girl. You just ruined it. I was just about to say it's a kick-ass girl's
empowering
action costume that is both sexy but without sexualizing her. Like, she's not got her boobs out or out like that. She's actually got armour on. Yes. When's the last time you played a game where a female character had armour on it and didn't have their boobs out?
I'm sorry, I don't understand the question.
Well, that's the joke, isn't it? In games, they're always like, most powerful...
But that is armour.
What, boobs?
Yeah.
The bullets bounce off.
Well, yeah, because they're soft. And you protect the bits that don't bounce.
Rory, you're making this
with
worse.
the armour. That's why you have bikini armour for women. Like, it's strong. It's as strong as the men's armour.
That's the joke I was getting at.
I know.
It'll be
I was playing along with you and you didn't catch it.
It'll be like men's ultimate armour, and it looks like fucking Sauron from Lord of the Rings.
It'd be a chainmail thong, which is what they should be wearing if it was equal to what women are wearing.
Yeah. But anyway, it's a cool outfit. Like, I'd play a game with a girl dressed like that.
Yeah.
Tell you what it reminded me a little bit of, kind of, from the back. Maybe not that much, actually.
What were you looking at when she was at the back?
No, you know, have you played The Evil Within?
No.
Well, The Evil Within, you play a guy called Sebastian, and he's kind of got like the white shirt with the rolled up sleeves and a waistcoat. It kind of looked like a female version of that with the white shirt sleeves. Anyway,
I mean, I agree with you. I'd like to see a female protagonist with that sort of outfit. Something that annoys me with a lot of female-led games at the moment is really bland costume design.
They're all in tank tops, aren't they?
They're all in tank tops and like cargo trousers. Yeah. So like that started with the reboot of Tomb Raider. Yeah. And she was dressed like that, and it was like, okay, that's a cool, interesting design. And then Jill Valentine has it.
To be fair, Lara Croft's always had like a tank top kind of look.
No, but so I mean, but what I'm talking about is like obviously they got rid of the hot pants and gave her cargo trousers, which makes sense.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, she's not wearing hot pants in the reboots.
I have only ever played the first reboot. I played it a long time ago.
Oh, okay. Yeah, she's wearing trousers the whole time.
Oh.
Yeah. But how did you not
She has great calf muscles.
Well, they're hidden.
She never skipped leg day. No,
she didn't. So all female protagonists in games now are basically dressed the exact same way.
With a colour palette swap.
Yeah, it'll be a muddy brown, or it'll be a muddy green, or this time it's a kind of baby blue.
Like Jill Valentine in the Resi 3 remake is dressed exactly like Claire Redfield in the Resi 2 remake, just with a different coloured tank.
Yeah, and that's what annoyed me about her redesign in Resident Evil 3 remake. It wasn't a case of, oh god, I can't see her panties up her skirt. It was a case of, okay, replace the outfit with something more practical, but at least do something new or interesting.
To be fair,
she doesn't stand out. She looks fucking boring.
For me as well, though, I've always thought Jill's Resi 3 original costume was iconic.
So did I.
Like, it doesn't make a ton of sense.
No.
But it's iconic.
It is iconic. You need to replace it with another iconic outfit. You can't replace it with, well, let's just make her look generic then.
Yeah, to be honest, I wouldn't have replaced it. Especially because, so this might be a controversial opinion, but I don't think it is. There are a lot of things that the Resi 3 remake gets wrong. But one thing it gets right, it is the best portrayal of Jill. The voice acting.
Yeah.
It's the best.
I don't have
Jill.
an issue with the performance side.
No, that's what I'm saying.
I'm
it's
literally just talking pure.
Let's sit down.
I'm just talking about pure costume design. Whenever they try and you've got the two extremes now. It seems you've got the games that are clearly designed for male gaze, where the women's best armor and stuff is just a bikini, and then you've got the women's empowerment costume, which is just tank top and cargo trousers, and it's in every fucking game that isn't for the male gaze, and it's like. Yeah, but like I don't mind that she's covered up. I just want her to be covered up in something that looks fucking interesting.
Which all the modders immediately mod to be sexy costumes anyway.
I mean, that's always going to happen.
Not that I downloaded any of the bikini mods for Jill Valentine in Resident Evil 3. I wouldn't do something like that.
Well, that's
what kind of sick pervert would do? You're almost a Jill sandwich.
Oh.
So Jodie Comer's character Millie.
Yes, Millie. Yeah,
Millie Rusk.
I believe so, yes.
She is meeting with some shady dealer-type guy.
Yeah, looks quite cyberpunky, this dude.
Yeah, in a back alley. And this is the little piece of trivia I knew that you didn't. That guy, Mr. Hugh Jackman, in a cameo.
And if you listen closely, you can just about hear it in his voice, because it's muffled by the mask a bit, but it is clearly him.
To be fair, they could have done more to give it away. Like, at no point does he suddenly have metal spikes come out of his hands.
Yeah.
At no point does he suddenly start
They could have done something more with the because you moaned in the Uncharted episode about the cameo for the Nathan Drake voice actor. Yeah. You said this was pointless. I would actually say that the Hugh Jackman cameo in this is more pointless because he's not recognisable at all.
Yeah. No, I didn't say Nathan Drake was pointless. I said it stops the momentum of the film. The Hugh Jackman one is more pointless.
No, it doesn't
stop the momentum. It's kind of in line with, have you seen Deadpool 2?
Yes.
So Deadpool 2's got that ridiculous cameo by Brad Pitt, hasn't it? when Deadpool's got an invisible guy on his team, and he crashes
yeah,
into the power plant, and it's Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
There seems to be this thing, but there's a group of actors who are all friends: Ryan Reynolds, Brad Pitt,
and they'll do
Matt
like
Damon,
a Dave
Hugh Jackman.
Freebie on the film.
They're all doing that because there's another film, and I don't remember what it is, unfortunately, but there is a film that Ryan Reynolds is in. Literally, I think he's just a voice on a phone. Right. And he just did it as a favour to one of his friends.
Yeah.
Like, it's become a weird bro thing
Which
that they do.
I don't mind. But
no, it's cool.
It'd just be nice if it wasn't inconsequential.
Yes, but
this
also in a way...
pointless.
Oh, yeah. In a way, though, it is cool because like you never see, like, there's no need for it to be Hugh Jackman because the character never takes its mask off. It could be anyone. It's you're right, it's just cool trivia. That's all it is.
Here's the other thing as well, though, and this is a different thing entirely and only really relevant to people who might want to try and break into the industry as an actor. But if you're putting AAA list celebrities in tiny minor roles, there's no roles left for people trying to break into the industry. So you essentially gate it.
Although, to be fair, with Hugh Jackman,
it's only a one-off.
You never saw the face, so no one would break in from that anyway.
Like,
let's say me or you did that role. Well, we could go down our local pub and be like, I'm in Free Guy, and people are like, who? And you'd point to the person in the mask, and they'd be like, what the fuck? Stop lying to me.
That could be Hugh Jackman for all I know.
Yeah. Bitch, please.
Yeah, so as she walks away from getting the information she wants out of Hugh Jackman, Guy spots her and immediately falls in love with her. You get this sort of moment. So
is this the first time where it plays the slowed down Mariah Carey song?
It might be, yeah.
The
I think
one it played throughout. Yeah.
So he breaks his protocols because she's walking past all the NPCs and quoting their catchphrases to them before they get a chance to say it, and then they just say their catchphrases anyway. Because as she walks past him, she says, "Don't have a good day, have a great day," and he goes, "I really love that song." So it is the Mariah Carey thing.
Yeah. Yes, because she's singing it at that point.
Yeah, and he goes, "Oh, I love that song," and she goes, "That's weird," and clearly that's different. He ends up being so stunned by her that he follows her.
Yeah.
And she gets to what would be the out-of-bounds area for the NPCs at the edge, which basically is a train track.
We later see in the game that's the path that leads to the multiplayer lounge.
Yes.
So she's off to the multiplayer. Why would you want to do that? I've been on multiplayer lounges before. It's just full of people saying racial slurs.
And certainly if you're a female player, it's not going to be a good time, is it? She's going to walk in there and it's
sad. Isn't it sad? I'm going to get on a soapbox for a minute. Isn't it sad that we're in 2022 and people still make female gamers feel like they don't belong?
Well, yes, 100% yes.
I thought
they deserve it.
I know your sense of humour. I thought you were going to do a comedy bit where you're like, well, girls don't know. And I was like, this is not the time for a comedy bit.
No, I wasn't going to go to a comedy bit. I was trying to think of the right way to say it without being a douche. What I meant is, yes, 100% you're right. However, it's not unique to girls. It's just, it stands out. I think it becomes a bit like racist stuff on, a lot of the... Well, they call it banter, but it is just abuse that people shout on online servers and chat rooms.
There's a big difference between banter and abuse,
and they classify it as banter. In reality, it's just abuse. But when you are... when you're in that mode, it doesn't matter who you are or what you are, and homophobia is another big one. If they can't get you on, oh, look, that's a black guy, oh, look, that's a woman, they'll get you on, oh, you must be gay. And there'll just be some... infantile 12-year-old screaming at you down the microphone about you're a this, that, and the other, and they use all the words.
I've heard my brother. I've never been much of an online gamer, but my brother. I used to be in the room reading while my little brother were playing Halo online, and the shit these people say to each other.
I remember I had a friend called Aaron. We used to play Halo 2.
You mean you've had other friends other than me?
Yes.
You betrayed me?
I've got a girlfriend.
I didn't say girlfriend, I said friends.
She's a friend. She's also more than a friend. But anyway, the point is I used to play Halo 2 online, and as you can imagine, there was no blocking, there was no like extra features, so things were as abusive as they ever got, really.
It was the Wild West.
It was the Wild, Wild West. And so people would get very abusive. And there was a match that we were playing. It was us two and these other two random guys versus 4 other random guys. on the other team.
Battle of the century, random guys versus random guys.
Well, you could make a follow-up to this film called Random Guy. But basically, we were playing and we were losing. But the whole time, we were having fun because we were just doing these overly posh British accents. Now, the reason we were losing wasn't actually us. Me and Aaron were playing very well. These other two losers were absolutely rubbish. And I qualify that they were losers because of what they did. Not because they were losing, but because of how they reacted. So we were doing our best. They were fucking up the team numbers, so the other team were winning. And we were just sitting there going, I was just like, I don't know, old chap, would you mind sniping that man for me? Oh, well done, old bean. And like, we were being overly posh. Yeah. And halfway through the match,
would you get for a scone?
It was literally that. And we were just enjoying ourselves. And about halfway through the match, these two guys on our team get the right arseache. And they're like, excuse us, guys, but like, we're losing here. It doesn't help if you're talking stupid things. And we were trying to make this work. We're trying to win. And started shouting. I think he's a little bit upset with this old boy. And so he just continued. It was like, right, you guys suck. And the abuse started. We were just like, oh, he sounds very upset, old bean. Well, we better continue on. Considering that we're not the ones making our team lose, we might as well just continue as we're going on. As we just continued playing and talking in these posh accents. So they started trying to kill us on our own team. And we were still playing. And we were just laughing because we were like, this is ridiculous.
This is why you shouldn't get drafted into the upcoming World War III, Rory.
Oh,
your own team will end up killing
I'd get murdered in the barracks before I even step foot into a war zone.
They will sacrifice you to the Russians.
Take him, please.
We're allowed to say that Russia are the bad guys at this point, right?
But if Putin has any form, and I doubt he has any, but if he had any form of humility, I might be able to become, like, if they give me over and they don't kill me instantly, I might become the Russian jester.
Yeah, no, they're going to kill you instantly.
They'll just murder me. I know. I can feel it in my bones.
I mean, to be fair, we should very quickly say. I know this is a comedy podcast, but we should very quickly say, because it's a bit flippant. Obviously, the situation in Ukraine is absolutely terrible. It's tragic. Yes. It's sad. I'm literally anxious as shit. Like, I realise that's probably stupid and I shouldn't be worried because, like...
I don't think there'll be a draft if that's what you're worried about.
I'm just worried about there being war. I don't like war.
Yeah,
War's terrible.
War sucks.
I'll tell you who is impressive, though, not to get involved, but that's Zelensky.
Don't say
No, the Zelensky guy, Ukraine's president.
Yeah.
You know, he was a fucking comedian.
Yeah, and he's holding forth.
And he's pretty much the best world leader in the world at the minute.
I mean, he hasn't got much competition.
Well, no, I fucking...
Ironically, having all the competition of Russia, and he's like clearly...
Could you imagine Boris... Say Russia would come in for us.
I don't want to imagine
Could
Boris.
You imagine Boris actually standing up the way... They offered Zelensky evacuation, didn't they? The Americans did, and he said, no, I'm staying... Boris would be on that plane faster than fucking... I don't know, faster than
someone would
faster than me at a McDonald's chowing down on hamburgers.
Someone would call up the US Embassy and go, we're going to offer you to basically parachute Boris out. And they're like, who's Boris? We haven't seen him for 12 days. I've taken my golden wallpaper and I've travelled abroad.
Anyway, I just wanted to say that because unfortunately these days, you can't... People don't accept when things are just jokes and they get angry.
Yeah, but no, we're not going to make a joke about Ukraine.
We've made our stance on it very clear.
Yes, Ukraine is my crane.
Ukraine is that's awful. Russia bad, Ukraine good, very inspiring.
Yes.
And also a very tragic situation, and I hope it is resolved. In fact, we're actually recording in advance. I hope it's resolved by the time this episode comes out.
Yeah.
At which point you can cut all this out because it sounds like worthless banter.
No, it's fine. So, Guy immediately falls in love. Sorry, it sounds really weird going back after that.
It was love at first sight.
Yeah, so he follows her to the train.
You're the one who wanted to record this late at night, man. That means you get tired, Jamie.
No, that's your fault as much as mine. So anyway, he follows her to the train tracks, and the train kills him as he tries to step out of bounds, because obviously it's an automated thing they put in there to stop him from breaking the rules of the game. So we cut to the real world, and Millie, who looks only half as hot as she does in the game.
Well, I was about to say, this is typical...
Because it's Hollywood. It's Hollywood ugly.
Yeah, like she's clearly been... Like, they're putting her in frumpy clothes, they're putting her in, like, a messy hairstyle.
Yeah,
clearly trying to do the whole, she's a nerd thing.
Yeah.
And it's like...
She's an ugly, sweaty nerd.
It's like she's still Jodie Comer. She's still beautiful. Yeah. And also, why do you assume all nerds have to be ugly? Like, just say she's a hot nerd.
Yeah. There's quite
plenty
a few
of
hot nerds. Yeah.
Yeah, geek chic's the thing now, isn't it?
It's weird how sometimes this film tries to like be the progressive step forward, and then in a lot of other ways it's not.
No, it's a step back.
So she's in the real world, and she explains that to a coffee shop owner for some reason, that she's trying to sue the game's publisher, the publisher of this particular game, to get evidence within the game.
The coffee shop's owner's response was brilliant.
It was, because like, who fucking cares, love?
And the evidence that I need is in the game, so I had my codes.
I wish we weren't closing so I could hear more about this.
Yeah, no, it is the right response, because why would she give a shit? But she's trying to convince... she's suing the game's publisher because there's evidence within the game that the game's publisher stole her video game and used it as the ground basis for this new game.
Yeah.
Which, there you go. Guy has now broken his programming. Yeah, his programming.
He's noticing.
Yeah, he's noticing that something's not right. He hasn't. There's a point where he gets sunglasses. He hasn't got those yet. But he's noticing something's a little bit different, and he feels a bit different having seen her.
So this is where he goes for his coffee order.
Yes. Did you want to explain the coffee shop?
Yeah. So he goes to the coffee shop, which we already saw him go through once before.
Yep.
And he ordered a what is it? He orders
something very specific and long-winded, but it's really basic.
Yeah.
And it's always the same every day.
It's always the same every day. She always says the same thing when she hands it to him. He
always
burns his mouth on it, and he always leaves saying hello to this copper, doesn't he?
Yes.
Who goes, "Hey up, guy," and he walks out going, "Don't have a good day, have a great day." And this one time, she goes to offer him his normal drink, and he goes, "Actually, I'd like to try a cappuccino." And this is a good scene. Like, I remember sitting in the cinema watching this the first time.
Yeah.
And she starts looking at, like, the camera starts to go Dutch, which I really like.
Which means it's tilting, for anyone who's not aware.
She's looking at him like, what the fuck?
Everyone in the coffee
everyone
shop
in the background starts to turn to him. And it's some creepy-ass shit.
It's like a horror moment almost, isn't it? And then there's a tank in the background outside the coffee shop. As he keeps holding it, going, well, I just fancied something different today. And he's trying to explain how he just wants something different. And there's a tank turning, and it's clearly going to kill him.
Yeah.
It's turning to shoot him.
So here comes my first problem with the film.
It's basically the game is going to annihilate him for breaking code.
The game is aware that he has stepped out of line, it's going to kill him.
Yeah.
Now here's where that's an interesting concept. Guess what, Rory?
It never comes up again.
Never comes up again.
And there's a point later on in this film where he's literally running around town screaming about how it's all fake and the world isn't real and all this stuff.
Nothing happens.
And not everyone's just like, oh, that's a weird thing, and just keeps on going about their day. And I'm like, but this is where the film basically sticks to the line. Then it's going to be as inoffensive and as uninspiring as possible, despite having the right ingredients for a strong film.
We talked about the lighting of this film, didn't we?
Really bland to support the green screen, I think.
It's very generic, flat Hollywood lighting, where, don't get me wrong, everything's visible.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's well lit, but it's just not artistically lit.
And I thought in the cinema they'd pulled off a great trick here, because the camera's fairly generic shots up to this point as well.
Yeah.
But then when you get that camera start to tilt off kilter,
suddenly we're getting a bit arty, and
they turn around.
Yeah.
In my head, in the cinema, I was literally like, it would be great if, like, the colour palette starts to darken now, and this
like Fatality from Mortal Kombat? Dun, dun, dun.
Well, it goes into a more sinister direction.
That would be so cool.
And it doesn't. It snaps straight back to its generic status, and that's it.
Yeah. Now, I would have been fine with it snapping back to generic status at this point to continue the plot as it is, and then darkening later. But the problem is, it never gets this dark again.
And we're gonna get to this. There are a few things in this film that happen once
and then never
happen again.
So he goes back to work. The bank is robbed again. and Guy sees Millie outside.
Is this the time where it's the guy with the RPD armour?
Yeah, so Guy's got armour on that says RPD. It's just generic armour. It's not police armour, though. But I'm pretty certain RPD must be referring to Raccoon Police Department.
I can't think what else RPD would stand for.
No, and there's no other reason to wear it because he's clearly not part of a police department. He's like an anarchist-looking guy.
Do you know what is interesting, though? Plot error in Resident Evil. That should actually be RCPD.
Yeah, because Raccoon City Police Department, isn't it?
Yeah.
And otherwise, it's just Raccoon Police Department, in which case they should all be anthropomorphic.
In which case, let's just talk about Raccoon Police Department for a minute here, because that could be one of two things. Is that a group of humanoid raccoons who are police officers, a la Rocket Raccoon type deal?
Yeah.
Or is that a police squad specifically trained in catching raccoons?
Well, since we never see a raccoon police officer, I'm guessing it's the latter.
I kind of want a Resident Evil film where it's just this highly trained STARS unit trying to hunt down rabid raccoons that are going in people's houses and causing mischief.
I'm surprised that's not been made yet. I mean, Paul W. Anderson could have done it in any of his films. It wouldn't have made them any worse.
No, it would have made them a lot better.
But at least that would have been funny.
Fucking Chris with his giant boulder muscles trying to catch a fucking
He never punched a
raccoon.
single rock throughout that whole 6-film series.
No, he did
no
not.
rock punching.
Someone did point out once.
Not canon.
A Resident Evil fan did point out as a joke that the boulder is a recurring enemy in Resident Evil. So it's in the first one, then it's in 4.
Yes, because it chases Leon, doesn't it?
And then finally in 5, Chris comes face to face with it again after dealing with it in 1. But this time he defeats it.
Well, it's like
his
Rocky,
fists.
he has to train before he's strong enough to take down the opponent.
Yeah.
So the whole first 5 Resident Evil films is Chris training to Rocky style beat up a rock.
Yeah.
Which is amazing.
This film's a bit like that. Chris Redfield from the original is or Code Veronica. He's regular Ryan Reynolds, and
then
Resi
there's
5 Chris's dude.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we get to Dude in a bit because he's like a weird addition in the final act. So yeah, basically the bank is robbed. Guy sees Millie again, and he decides he's going to take the robber's sunglasses. He gets beaten the shit out of for a bit, but then steals the guy's sunglasses and accidentally kills the guy with his own shotgun. So the player is now watching, going, "What the hell? I've just been killed by an NPC." Guy puts on the shades and sees all the mission objective pickups and stuff around the world.
Yeah, that you would have in a game where it's like garage here, shop here.
So while the world looks proper realistic outside of the odd happenings going on, when he puts the sunglasses on, it still looks kind of the same, but instead now there's all the user interface and objective markers and waypoint markers and health bars and pickups and all that stuff is now visible.
He sees someone die because they're in a jetpack.
Oh, they hit
the boundary.
Yeah, the out of bounds. Yeah,
and when they die,
he picks up their money. Yeah,
like a spawn, like a loot thing.
Yeah, and when he picks it up, it comes up that he's picked up all this cash. And when he goes to his bank account, because he's been saving up to try and get a $200 pair of trainers that he never can reach, he's picked up
every day he's got the same amount in his bank.
Yeah, he's picked up $3,000 from this guy. When he goes to his bank account, it's actually in his account, so he goes and buys the shoes. The thing is, from defeating the first guy, we go back to real life. When he defeats the bank robber, we go to real life where we have, what's his name, Casey, who's the other main developer alongside Millie, but they've gone their separate ways at this point.
He's working for Tsunami, the evil entity.
The evil corpo, yeah. And he thinks Guy is just a rogue player who's managed to somehow hack the game
to get an NPC skin.
Yeah, so he goes into the game with his friend who's basically, I hate to say it, but he's just the token Indian friend in this film. It's not me.
I can't remember his name.
No, because that's the point. He's kind of
We watched this half an hour ago, Rory.
I know, but it's a meaningless character.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, I barely remembered Millie's name. I had to write it down. So, like, most of the characters outside of Guy, their names are not memorable. I had to write them all down. Like Casey's name, Millie's name, I've had to write it down to remember it. But this guy, he's literally got he's essentially got 0 point. They kind of they shoehorn him in when they can't find a reason to keep Casey inside the company anymore when he gets booted out later on. And that's essentially this guy's only real reason for being here.
To be honest, he's there so that when we're introduced to the real villain, Taika Waititi, he's there so Taika has someone to yell at.
Yes.
It's that comedy dynamic like to reference Cuphead, like the devil and henchman.
Yeah.
Or like Hades with Pain and Panic in Hercules.
Yeah, it needs a patsy.
Yeah,
he's just a patsy.
He's there for comedy effect. Anyway, they go into the game wearing Casey's wearing a police skin, proper 70s police with the mustache.
Yeah, with the moustache. Yeah, they're doing it obviously for a joke. And the other guy's wearing a pink bunny outfit. Pink bunny suit,
and we get another game reference here. Did you pick up on this?
No, go on.
So they appear in the game and they see Guy. And they get out of the car, and I'm sure this is a reference, not just a generic line, because he deliberately says it in this voice. The guy in the bunny suit, they see Guy, and Casey says something like, "Oi!" And the other guy goes, "Get over here!" Like that.
I missed that.
Yeah, okay. He literally says it like that. He doesn't just say, "Get over here."
He shouts it with a grunt.
Get over here.
Hey, 40-year-old virgin! Get over here! Let's go.
Fair play.
So yeah.
Woo! We got it in. Well done, everyone. Shake my hand. Well done. We did it, ladies and gentlemen.
Celebrations, fireworks. Oh, no. Fireworks indoors now. We're on fire. Oh, warning ad for children. Oh, melty, burn, Beth.
Don't burn and die, children. Don't burn and die.
Don't play with fireworks. Why are fireworks still on sale? Whatever, I'm not getting on that soapbox.
That's a different soapbox. We've done too many soapboxes this episode already. So anyway, they think he is just a rogue player still, so they shout at him to tell him to take the skin off. Guy doesn't understand what they're talking about. He's like, that's a really weird question.
Yeah, you get some humorous misunderstanding where they're like, "Where did you get that skin?" And he's like, I've always had it. Like, genetics,
like, hey, Neutrogena.
I think. Yeah. So this bit, I got a couple of bits here. First of all is eventually he ends up taking shelter behind a car and the police shoot the car, and like you would in an arcade style game, you get the damage numbers coming up.
Yes.
Like -9, -2, -3.
Yeah.
Never happens again.
No, it's only used in this one scene.
That's the only time damage counters are shown. And secondly was so Guy ends up running into a building. And he's running up the staircase.
It's a building under construction, isn't it? Yeah.
And as he's running up the staircase and the coppers are chasing him, you get a shot from their point of view. So it's like a first-person shooter game. It reminded me of the sequence in Doom. Except this doesn't last nearly as long. This is like 10 seconds. Cool. No, this is literally just him going up a staircase.
The other thing as well is the first-person sequence in Doom was all practical. Yeah. So it was infinite. I'm going to just say this right now. Anything practically done is infinitely better than anything CGI done. If it can be done practically, it should be done practically.
I am tempted to agree. Definitely... It's more fun.
Yep.
Definitely.
There's definitely more.
It ages better.
Yep.
Doing it practically.
It feels better.
CGI might look great in the year that it's done if you've got a really high budget, but it very quickly dates because technology improves.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of these tricks that do practical effects, they are age-old tricks. The other day, I'm watching The Flash at the minute.
Right.
And I just did the episode with Gorilla Grodd in it, and he's CGI. He's a CGI gorilla. And fuck me, it's like a PS1 cutscene.
Oh.
Like, dudes, on a TV budget, don't do CGI.
No, it's a waste. And I mean, they've obviously got a good budget for this, but it just doesn't have... It's nowhere near as impressive, and it never will be.
We discussed, there's a sequence later where Guy rides a motorbike through a window.
Yes.
And
it's all CGI, obviously.
I'm going to talk about Paul W.S. Anderson here in a positive way. There's a scene in Resident Evil Apocalypse. I'm sure there's scenes like this in other films, but for some reason Apocalypse pops in my head. Where Mila Jovovich rides a motorbike through a window.
Yes, of the church.
It's a shit scene, but it's a practical effect.
It looks
that
so much better.
glass feels like it has weight. The motorbike feels like it has weight.
Because it actually does.
This is CGI, and that glass... First of all, the glass it shatters into pieces that are too big. If you hit it with a motorbike, that would be shards, like small shards.
Depends on the type of glass. It'll either be so big that it would have stabbed and sliced through him, or it would be, as you say, breakaway glass. It would have been small, tiny bits.
And it just... There is no impact at all, is there?
No.
Like, he just glides right through the glass.
Now, here's the thing. I appreciate it's meant to be a video game world, so having it be CGI and having it not be particularly realistic kind of works. The only issue is it works for the narrative, but it doesn't work for the audience member because it loses all heft. So once and unfortunately, the audience experience should always trump what works for the narrative.
I agree.
And unfortunately, and yeah, so that's something where it didn't work. So eventually he catches up to her. And we see Taika Waititi.
Whoa.
No.
We've skipped some stuff here.
Oh,
so they're still chasing up the thing.
This is where I had pizza, so...
All right, so he
you might
has...
need to do the notes.
So Guy realises that these sneakers he saved up to buy have super jump abilities, but with limited uses. So he uses them to escape. We get a fucking eye-rolling bad bit where he's run out of jumps, and he's at the top of the building, and he's running along a scaffolding,
and he's going to jump
and
on
at the end there's a wrecking ball, and he's going to jump onto that, and as he jumps it plays the Miley Cyrus song, I came in like a wrecking ball, and then Ryan Reynolds goes, oh no! And he's missed it, and he sails past it. The music cuts off. Like, that is just such a...
I quite like that bit, I'll be honest.
I'm going to get on my high horse here a little bit, though. That is the level of joke... I'm going to sound like such an old man. That is the level of joke that someone would do on a YouTube video back in the day.
Yeah.
Like, it's just such a... Do you know what I mean? Like, it's
you're right. It's a TikTok, isn't it?
It's not actual comedy.
I quite liked it, though. Maybe that's just me.
Yeah, fair enough.
So maybe your mileage will vary on that joke. But yeah, I do see your point. The joke itself, there's no wit or intellect behind it. It is basically
it's just pop culture reference.
It's a pop culture TikTok sort of thing.
And this is what society... Yeah. Oh, God, I'm going to sound such an old man. This is what society's doing. Because look at TikTok, right? Most of it, not all of it, but most of it is just people imitating things that actual funny people have done.
Yeah, there's a lot of people who will like do quotes from stand-up comedians or dislike or take scenes from comedies, and they'll just do different clips of themselves talking to themselves.
Yeah, doing funny faces. And shit
doing funny faces, and it'll be like a scene from Friends going, "Could you be any more?" And then it'll just be them mouthing along to it. And I'm like, this isn't skill. This isn't, and it's not comedy.
Don't get me wrong.
Show me the original clip.
I have seen some people on TikTok. Not that I make a habit of watching TikTok, because I'm a grown-ass man. But I have seen some people on TikTok with actual skill who will take something like that and they will do it, they'll twist it in a way that's their own way, or they'll make it
but
funny.
There's so many, most of them don't.
Yeah, most of them are just people mouthing, half the time mouthing along out of fucking time. Like, if you're going to lip-sync, at least fucking lip-sync.
Oh, I know. Yeah, well, there's no accounting for talent, is there? Let's be honest, because it's anyone. Anyway,
God, I'm starting to turn into a grumpy old man.
We are both grumpy old men. So, I think at this point, Guy actually spends some time with her, doesn't he?
Well, so the next scene I've got is we cut back to the real world.
Oh, is it Taika Waititi's entrance?
Well, just before that, we see a clip of Millie and Casey back when they were still working together.
Right, yes.
Being interviewed, because I've got a note here. This is an interview on a national news programme.
Yeah, like that happens with video games.
Well, even if it did, right, let's assume for a minute that does.
Sure.
The interviewer is interviewing them about a revolutionary AI they've created.
Yep.
And then decides to turn around and ask a question, and how about a romance between you two? Now, to be fair, I'm not saying that doesn't happen. It might do. I have certainly seen awful fucking clips of interviews with female celebrities.
Oh, that happens all the time where they'll ask
the male questions like, what is it, how do you feel playing this character who's so tough, blah, blah, blah. And then they'll get to, like, Scarlett Johansson. What the fuck?
No, that's just a bug.
Then they'll get to Scarlett Johansson and be like, what are you wearing? Or something.
How do you fit into your tight suits?
Yeah.
And she's like, what the fuck?
And that's bollocks. Like, that shit needs to stop.
Yeah.
But this, like, would they to two game developers be like,
would you bang?
Yeah. Would you bang, guys? How about you put your...
That's the prequel, Bang Guys.
Yeah. Turn around to Casey and be like, does she make your software hardware? Want to find her floppy disk slot? Now we are showing our age. So anyway...
Don't talk to me about floppies.
We then get a discussion between her and Casey. Basically, she's turned up in Casey's apartment.
Yes.
And this is where you commented that his apartment is fucking huge.
Yeah, though it does make sense because he's working for the company, so he's obviously getting paid well. I think. But it is very much a
aren't they-
luxury apartment
and
in the
they're
middle
in
of the
like
city.
New York City, aren't they?
I mean, I can't imagine
That's
what
a
the rent is on
millionaire
that.
penthouse.
It's a very, very nice apartment.
And this is the part where I wasn't quite sure.
So he's not been
Taika
fucked over, has he?
No, and I wasn't quite sure what Taika Waititi's villainous nature was, because
He's stolen their game, but
well,
he actually bought
he
it
did
from
buy
them.
it. He bought it. So what he's done is morally questionable.
Yes.
But it's something that happens in America constantly. He's bought the code from them, shelved their game, but actually used the code from their game
build a new game,
which is Free City, the game that Guy lives in.
Yes.
But he's denying it. Now, don't get me wrong.
He's saying it's all his own unique code.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, that's morally reprehensible. But that shit happens in corporate America literally all the time.
And she's trying to find the evidence in the game to prove that he's done that so that she can sue him. But even if she got the evidence, I don't know where she stands legally.
Yeah.
If she sold the game to him and now it's the property of him and his company, they can shelve and reuse the engine assets as they please.
Yeah.
I don't understand. And you're right. It's morally reprehensible, but legally, I don't think she's got a ground to stand on, even with the evidence.
So the key takeaway here is she asks Casey to help her find this evidence. Casey refuses, basically says that due to all the NDAs he's signed, he shouldn't even be in the same room as
he's
her.
not allowed to even look at her.
And he makes her leave.
Yep.
This is where we get to
Taika Waititi. I want to talk about how shit he is.
I still don't think it's Taika yet.
Oh, that's the next thing I've got. So let me know when it's Taika.
The next thing I've got written down is Portal Gun.
Yes,
well, actually, no. I've got Did Antoine Actually Steal, which I wrote during that scene in the flat.
Yeah.
And then I've got Portal Gun, because I'm going to bring some up here now. What game is this?
It's got every other game in it.
Yeah.
So it's clearly. I mean, he's got more chance. Unless he owns the rights to Mega Man, to all the Marvel stuff, to Halo. He's more likely to be sued by these other game developers than them two.
What we're saying is Tsunami in the universe of this game. Tsunami is Disney.
Yeah,
because all of these things that are in this are owned by Disney.
No, Mega Man is owned by Capcom.
I bet Capcom's fucking owned by Disney if you dig hard enough. I bet it fucking is. Everything's owned by Disney. The point is, because this film quite famously...
I don't think so, but possibly. I know.
For anyone who doesn't know, this film was originally a 20th Century Fox film.
I know Bungie isn't.
Bungie is owned by Microsoft, isn't it, now?
No, Activision.
No, Bungie got bought out by Microsoft.
No, they didn't, because they bought themselves back.
343. Oh, did they?
No, 343 is a different company. Bungie basically got bored of making Halo games, so they agreed to make a certain number, which ended with Reach, and basically bought themselves out of the exclusivity contract with Microsoft. So they now make Destiny and Destiny 2.
Yeah, which isn't that garbage.
Well, yeah, they're basically the same. They're basically
Halo.
They're open world Halo and garbage, but by the by, that doesn't matter. They're not owned by Microsoft.
Okay, fair enough.
I think they're owned by Activision. However, Microsoft are looking at buying Activision at the moment, so it's possible that Bungie will end up being usurped by them. And to be honest, Activision can die, and I don't care because it's full of
we already dealt with this on another episode.
Yeah.
But do you know what I mean? Though this is it's like, I get that you're enjoying making all these pop culture references, but what game? This game doesn't have an identity of its own.
No, it really doesn't. It is literally an asset flip from beginning to end. It's like, we've got the Mega Man gun. We've got the Portal gun. We've got the Gravity gun from Half-Life. Yeah.
There's
Although,
as I pointed
Halo.
out, the Portal gun doesn't actually look like the Portal gun.
I think they're all percentage enough different from the original source that they wouldn't be suable for it if they didn't own the rights already. Obviously, the Marvel stuff's accurate because it's owned by Disney.
So this is what I was going to say. This film was originally a 20th Century Fox film. And when Disney showed interest in buying Fox, this film got delayed. It was actually meant to come out a few years ago.
Yeah.
It got shelved. Disney did some reshoots on it,
which is very
clearly,
obvious where.
Yeah, it's very clear that's when the MCU and Star Wars references were added.
We'll get to that later because it's right near the end. But there's a scene right near the end of the film where it's so blatant what was reshot. Because you're like, all right, this could not have been made under 20th Century Fox. It's only makeable, basically, could only be made by Disney because it literally is full of their own shit.
I'll get there.
But we'll get there eventually. So, are we at Taika Waititi yet?
Almost. I've put, referring to this as being an asset flip, I've put this film. I'm not saying it's worse or better than this other film. This is a knockoff of Ready Player One.
Okay. I haven't seen that yet. I've got it on Blu-ray, but I haven't watched it yet.
It's incredibly similar, except...
I know Ready Player One's based on a book.
It is. It's incredibly similar, except Ready Player One has the good sense to set itself in the future. So although that makes all the nostalgia references make less sense, it makes more sense that it's a future where everyone's obsessed with the game.
Yeah, because it would be news.
Yeah. Whereas here, my next thing is this would not be national news. Like, people are reporting the existence of
like TV
guy.
news channels, like CNN.
He's a question on Jeopardy.
Yes, and it's like, no, like... I'd imagine if video games are referenced on Jeopardy at all, we're at the point where the questions would be, what is it? This red and blue plumber kills turtles
by jumping on them.
By jumping on them, and then there's like, what is Mario?
This red and blue plumber is constantly getting cuckolded by his princess wife.
Yes,
right. I think
that could be Zelda as well.
I think Taika must. Oh, no. So Taika's ages away yet, mate. I'm nearly at the end of my first page, but I've just flipped and Taika's at the top of my second page.
Right.
So basically, I'll speed through this. Yeah. We get a teabagging reference.
Yes, we do.
The security guard... So, guy goes back to the bank.
Yep.
It gets robbed again. I've put here, this is the RPD armor bit. We were a bit too soon earlier. That first guy is wearing the sky suit.
Yes, he is. You're right.
And basically... Guy offers sunglasses to his friend, to Buddy.
Yes,
and he's like, come on, bro, see him. And this was a part where the film could have had a chance to be something, because Buddy is too afraid to take the chance.
And that's an important
And you
part.
see...
And to be fair, Buddy is the character outside of Guy who has the biggest arc.
Yeah, and I want to say, like, I know we slagged off Lil Relhowery, but actually, this is a good bit of acting in this scene.
Yeah.
Because you could see on his face how scared he is, but also how upset he is that he's letting Guy down.
Yeah.
And he's ashamed, like when he says, I just can't, man, and he turns his face
He's torn
away.
and ashamed, and it's so well played, you're right, it's well played.
Yeah, so now we get the Mega Man Blaster, and we also get my first entry, my first contender for potential worst line.
Ooh.
Some explosive shit happens. So this is where Guy rides the motorbike through the window.
Yep.
A fight scene happens, and then Guy rides the motorbike back out of the building, and as he rides it out, Millie jumps onto the bike, and she lands on his front, and she looks at him and says...
Is that a Glock in your pocket?
No.
What?
It's 2 Glocks.
Oh.
Because Glock sounds like cock.
And
get
Glock's
it?
a type of gun.
But you get that moment where her face goes like, what? And it's like, get it, he's got a huge dick. That's the joke. Get it?
Yeah, the thing is, how would she feel it? She's not really in the game.
Exactly, she wouldn't. She wouldn't.
So she would have only been saying that as a joke.
Can we just... Guys, it's time to retire the is that a blank in your pocket joke. That's been done too many times, hasn't it? Right, now I've got here... that Taika Waititi comes into the game,
right?
Because I have got this written down. This is exactly word for word what I've written down.
Yep.
I like Taika Waititi.
Yep.
But he's awful in this movie.
Yes. So that's what I was going to say. Taika Waititi is shit in this film, conceptually and performance-wise. But... I don't hate Taika Waititi.
No, I love Taika Waititi.
I love Taika Waititi.
Jojo Rabbit is literally a great film.
Yeah, and I've seen a lot of his work, and he's very good director, writer. I like his performances in most things. Yet, for some reason in this film, he is just awful.
I mean, the character's garbage.
I think he's not helped because conceptually... he is A, the wrong person for the part, and B, the character is conceptually badly written.
Yeah.
There is nothing of this character. There is no motivation really to this character. There is no depth to this character. We've already stated that he's meant to be the big bad, but we can't really fully figure out what his main evil is.
I've written down his main evil is generic capitalist greed.
Yeah.
Well, who cares?
But here's the thing.
That's the whole of America.
Yeah, now here's the thing. Clearly, he's meant to be, as far as coding is concerned, he's meant to be something of a hack. He's claiming that he's built Free City all on his own, but he has actually based it on the other two characters' existing software, right? So it's based on all of their code, and he's just built on top of that. Now, that's fine, but what would have been interesting, now here's a point where the film could have been a little bit more meaningful and just, again, shied away to be as inoffensive as possible. This character could have been done in a few different ways. If you're going to play the fool angle, the fact that he is actually a complete grifter with very little talent to him, you could have played the Peter Molyneux route. Now, the Peter Molyneux route, for anyone who doesn't understand that reference...
I'm going to say, be careful you don't get us sued.
Well,
I know he over-promises and under-delivers.
That was my point. It should have been a case of he was someone who... You've got a couple of options. Number one is that he's someone who ends up being out of his mental element, like Peter Molyneux, and therefore comes across as something of a hack. Because anytime he goes into an interview, and that's what makes him an idiot, he keeps on going into places and going, well, we're going to have this, and Free City 2. And he does do this to a degree, because it's stated that he goes into interviews, and, like, for example, he says Free City 2 will be fully backwards compatible with Free City 1. And when one of the guys questions him and goes, but you said that, but that's not true. And he goes, well, guess what? When I said that, I was lying. And it's like, I don't think that's what Peter Molyneux was doing. And that would be the difference. Like, it's basically a quote on Peter Molyneux, but I don't think that was Molyneux's point. I think Molyneux just gets excited with new ideas and just goes, yeah, we'll do that. And then when he goes home, or when he goes back to his company, they're just like, dude, we have no way of slipping that shit into the game. What the fuck were you thinking and saying that shit again? But because he ran the company, they had to try and squeeze it in or just let down their audience. So they always ended up, Peter Molyneux games, no matter how good they were, would always disappoint their fan base by over-promising and under-delivering, only because he wouldn't shut the fuck up. So, but they don't play it for that. It's literally he's just happily going around lying to his fans, apparently. And then the other stuff is that if they wanted to give him a real evil capitalist bent, they could have made a commentary. Then it would have been very relevant at the time, and certainly still is now, talking about the attempt to shoehorn in gambling mechanics into games that are available for children. This happens with FIFA. You have things like loot boxes. You have things like, NFT stuff is coming up now.
NFTs, yeah, bro.
Now, we won't go into NFTs because we actually kicked off about it in the Shenmue episode. But
we did, didn't
we? We did. So we've already talked about how they're a scam. But basically,
crypto, bro.
Exactly. And so essentially he could be a guy trying to push into that market. But Disney didn't probably want to run the risk of actually making that statement in case, you know what, it's actually a bit lucrative ripping off children for money. Maybe we want to, delve into that market. You know what, we'll make this film inoffensive and just make him generic, annoying capitalist man. And it's like that you've just, again, could have made a statement, evaded it completely. So
should we really lower the tone, Rory?
He's also too old.
I do feel he's probably too old for the kind of character that they're going for.
Because
he's got grey hair and shit. Not that Taika Waititi is old.
No.
But he is definitely a grown-ass man.
He's too old for the part of what should be really a very young man, because he's dressed like Assassin's Creed.
This should be a young
23-year-old
with too much power.
Yes.
And it's all gone to his head.
Yes.
That's what this should be.
It would have worked under that guy's, at least a little bit better as being just some narcissist
an obnoxious,
too young an age.
Face teenager.
Yeah, but at this point, he's not. He's a grown-ass man. Must be, we worked out he's 46 years old. Yeah. And sitting there going, you know what, bruv? It's like, that doesn't work on a 46-year-old. It's. Do you
want to lower the tone even more?
Well, let's see if it fits, if it actually ends up in the episode. Go on.
We've got a pedo joke in a minute.
Oh, we do. Well, guys, before we get to that...
I say a pedo joke, it's just pointing out an actual...
Well, okay, go on then.
Well,
is it the wanking joke?
No, is it Casey who points it out to her that she's in love with a man who, technically speaking, is only 4 years old?
I'm sorry. Wait, you let who kiss you?
Guy.
Guy?
The first time I kissed a non-toxic guy in forever, and of course he's not even real.
There's not a button for that.
Oh, he found the button.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm so confused and surprisingly curious. You let an artificially intelligent video game character kiss you, and then you thought that would be
it like that? Because you have got to meet him, Keys. He's funny and he's sweet and he's so handsome, and oh my God, now I'm saying it out loud.
Also, Millie, food for thought. He's like 4.
Really? You're gonna do that?
Really?
Wow, you just made it really creepy.
And the thing is, the film's kind of fine with that.
Yeah, just
But
sort
if
of gloss over and it's like, oh, well, I can't imagine. Yeah, I
Because
suppose
to
he is
be
only
fair,
4.
to be fair, Ryan Reynolds is
A grown-ass man.
But just flip the genders for a second.
Yeah.
And think how creepy that is.
Yeah, imagine if it was a very sexy-looking young woman, like sort of 20s, a woman in her 20s, 30s.
And a man.
And a grown-ass man, and she had the mental capacity of a 4-year-old.
Which, I mean,
and
to
he
be
was
fair-
like, yeah, I fancy this woman, I'm in love with her.
To be fair, you've
It would
overblown
be
that a
weird.
bit, because Ryan Reynolds' character doesn't have the mental capacity of a 4-year-old, but he is 4 years old.
Right.
Is what I mean.
Right. Well, he's not.
even-
He's still got the mental capacity of a child, though, because he's playing the game. He's not like, shit, this is my reality. He's like, oh wow, this is all strange.
Yeah, he's incredibly naive, isn't
Yeah,
he?
so he's got the naivety of like at least a early to mid teenager
Yeah.
looking at everything through shiny new eyes.
So I'm going to be completely honest with the audience. Me and you actually both kind of got a little bit bored for the next 10 minutes. I've literally only written down, oh, she tells him that he's an NPC at this point. But I remember me and you were talking, what were we discussing?
Yeah, so
this was the point where we were discussing the fact that this could have been a different genre.
We were I've written this note here, so I've caught up now with my notes. We stated that the romance is another element of missed depth. So whether or not, like, even if we give a free pass to the fact that she is essentially dating someone with a child's mental capacity, even if we give that the pass that the film does, this could have been an interesting character look at her from this point. She doesn't really get a huge amount of development in this film, but it was the idea of how did someone get so isolated, so lonely, so so stuck inside this game world that she would because she literally falls in love with Guy, doesn't she? And it's like, what would cause you to fall in love with someone you know 100% is not real, does not exist, and realistically can't have the same sort of feelings you're having for it back to you? What's causing? And it would have been a very nice, interesting idea, but again, the film skims over that as much as possible, because it's trying to be as inoffensive as possible. So rather than look at what would make a woman so lonely, so sad, as to delve into wanting to be with a robot.
This is relying on safety and genericness.
Yep. Oh, absolutely. So we then find out that Guy will be deleted when Free City 2 is released. As I mentioned before, even though he promised it would be backwards compatible, Free City 2 will not be backwards compatible with Free City 1. And this is where Guy is walking around the street because he finds out that he's not real. And he's walking around the streets shouting that it's all fake. And yet, at this point, no one turns on him. There is not a single bit of blowback to him literally walking around the streets shouting at every single NPC.
And he goes full Deadpool in this scene.
Yes.
This is the most egregious Deadpool bit when he's yelling at the lady with the cat.
Has anyone seen my cat? Has anyone seen my
Your cats? No, Phyllis, I haven't seen them, but here's a revolutionary idea. Close your goddamn door. It's not like they're climbing on top of one another, forming a little kitty tower, and then jimmying the locks. They don't have thumbs, Phyllis. No thumbs!
See, while it is Ryan Reynolds, and you could go, well, it's Deadpool because it's Ryan Reynolds, that's not my problem with Ryan Reynolds being Free Guy in this, because at least there is one single state of separation with Guy versus Deadpool, is that he is naive and unaware, where by this point, he's no longer naive and unaware. He's fully aware, and he's calling it all out, breaking the fourth wall the same way that Deadpool does. So you essentially just become a sad Deadpool in this scene. So you are right on that. But yeah, eventually he finds Channing Tatum. We get to the Channing Tatum scene.
This is my next note, which is Channing Tatum is fairly funny in this.
Yeah, no, he does a good job.
But more because it's not the type of role you expect to see Channing Tatum doing.
Yeah, it's a really well, I mean, he's played goofy comedy characters before, but it's...
I've never seen him do homoerotic, though, when he's getting up on Ryan Reynolds and he's like, I can feel that in your pocket.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. He plays that game very well. So Channing Tatum gets a pass in this, but there's obviously the real player who's playing as Channing Tatum.
Can I do my second entry for worst line?
Oh, go on then.
Which is Channing Tatum says to him, because he's a Twitch streamer.
Yeah.
Can you do just one solid for me? One thing, I'll stop at.
Yeah.
Okay? Just say my catchphrase. My viewers will just banana cream sandwich all over themselves if you say it.
Well, I love banana cream sandwiches.
Maybe not this banana cream sandwich.
Yeah, this one.
Which blatantly means jizz their pants.
Yeah, and Guy doesn't get it. It's like, oh, I love banana cream sandwiches.
Not these kinds, you don't.
Yeah, he goes, I really love these ones. Yeah, that's to be honest, I don't think that's a worse line, because that's quite funny because of the way those two play off each other, I would say. And to be fair, there are some fucking awful lines coming up.
We've got another cum joke in a few seconds. Just hold you.
So literally, Channing Tatum's real life player, the Twitch streamer, he's obviously living with his mum, because there's points where Channing Tatum will suddenly shout and go, "Mum, don't go, blah, blah." And then it comes to the real life of him turning and shouting at his mum behind him.
This is really interesting. You mentioned earlier about how this film's trying to be progressive but keeps regressing.
Yes.
This is one of those scenes, because think about it, like, this film shows, so spoiler, later on it's got real Twitch streamers in it.
Yeah.
And it shows them like celebrities, like they're on the news,
There's people
they?
like Jack Skepticeye, there's Pokimane, and a few others. I don't know any of these people.
No, but it shows them like on the news and stuff, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But then this is a old stereotype of a gamer.
Yeah, this is like the
living with
90s
his
idea
mum,
of us
eating Twizzlers. And
fat.
well, no, to be fair, he's not fat. He's got greasy hair.
He's got a double chin.
And he's got a really... Yeah, but I've seen thin people with double chins.
That's true enough.
He's got... he's pale.
Yeah.
And he's yelling at his mum, isn't he? Like, "Mum, I'm trying to play my game. Why are you using the vacuum?" And stuff like that.
Which makes me wonder, like, he says he's a really popular streamer, but, like, I don't watch streams, so maybe I'm wrong on this, but do people really watch streams where people shout at their mum all day?
I doubt it, but I don't watch streaming either.
Let us know if you like watching people shout at their mum all day on Twitch streams.
Here's my total knowledge of streaming. I've seen video. I did once watch a compilation which was quite funny, which was streamers who were rage quitting.
Yes.
And there's a brilliant one where a guy, I don't know who this guy is, but I don't know what game he's on. I think it's Call of Duty or something, and he loses, and he just punches his fist straight through his computer monitor.
What a
and
fool.
you're like, dude, it's a fucking game.
Yeah, no, I feel his energy. What I would say about people like that, if they get that ragey when playing games, having been someone as a teenager who was also, never broke my stuff, but I used to get very upset if I lost multiplayers, which was not a good shout. I'm not like that anymore, just to make yes, very, very much so. Usually it comes down to having some sort of trauma that's not been worked out. So if you do know someone who is screaming that they lose and that sort of thing, they might need support.
Man, you've got to take the fun out of everything, haven't
well,
you?
You can take
now I've got to feel sorry for rage quitters.
No, you can take the piss while you're there, but like, just bear in mind that there's probably something underlying in that. And also, the other thing is if you are someone who rage shouts and rage quits, something that might help is that helped me a lot. I actually figured my own way out of this problem without counselling. I got counselling for other things later. But for this particular thing, I actually worked my own solution, which was, obviously people stopped wanting to play multiplayers with me because I was an asshole. And I liked multiplayers. I liked playing them despite having the cry. So I was just like, right, I need to figure out a solution to this. And what it was with me was the issue is that there's a lot of pressure that you put on yourself to win. And unfortunately, as human beings, generally winning... If you want to win, you have to win. And there isn't really a way to break that inside of you. If you want to win, you need to win. But you can change the goalposts for yourself on what you win at. So in my case, I wanted to be the best, coolest player in this multiplayer. I wasn't very good. I got a lot better when I stopped getting fucking whiny about it. In fact, I got really fucking good at this game once I'd put down the rage. However, the way out of it, instead of trying to be the coolest, best player and always failing and falling on my arse and getting upset, the way I figured it was I fell on something that is naturally good for me, which I'm naturally talented at, which is being annoying. I am very good at being annoying, and I was literally born annoying. So what I decided to do was, rather than go into a game going, right, I'm going to win this match and I'm going to be the coolest guy in it, now I was going into the match and going, right, I'm going to be the most annoying guy in the match. If I lose the match, that doesn't bother me.
Unsurprisingly, people still don't want to play with you.
But I was winning. I started winning because people were putting me off going, oh, he's just a naff player, we'll leave him alone. And then I started getting really good because now I was focused, and it didn't matter if I won. I took the pressure off myself. And here's the other thing I did, and I know this might sound a little homophobic now, but it's not full-on homophobic, but it's a little homophobic, I suppose. Bear in mind, this was the early 2000s and I was a teenager. But basically, what I would do is, I used to be playing as Captain Falcon or Falco, like characters that were...
So this is on Smash Brothers.
Smash Brothers Melee. That was my poison. And what I did instead was I went, right, what I'm going to do, I make a decision. I'm going to switch my character. And I'm going to switch my character to a pink Luigi. Now, the benefit of switching to the pink Luigi in my mind was he's really fucking annoying. And no one ever wants to play as a pink Luigi.
Okay.
But nobody wants to lose to a pink Luigi either. Now, but here's the kicker. If someone beats a pink Luigi, all right, you beat a pink Luigi. If you lose to a pink Luigi...
This is like we were saying, it's the Starcade method.
Yes.
With the guy where...
You psych him out,
If he beats the little girl, he's the douche who beat a little girl.
Yeah,
but if he loses to the little girl, he's the guy who lost to a little girl.
And I essentially put my... It was my brother and my friend at the time... I put them in that position by going, right, I'm a pink Luigi now. And I tell you what, I'm shit.
You moved the goalposts.
Yeah, I moved the goalposts.
Son of a bitch, you Kobayashi Maru'd them.
I fucking did. And here's the thing, I never had a breakdown after that. Never had a problem with that game, and I pushed that into the other games that I play, so now I don't have a breakdown on any game. I just wanted to put that out there, because I thought that was important, because there are people that rage quit and don't know why. It's usually underlying trauma, and you need to change the goalpost to something that suits your playing method.
So the worst rage quit video I have ever seen is one of a guy and a girl, they're a couple, and they're playing COD or something, and he keeps killing her every time she respawns, and this woman is shrieking at him with the fury of the fucking Valkyries. Like, she is screaming mad, like bright red in the face.
Yeah.
And eventually, she literally at one point screams at him, "No sex for a month." But I mean, screams at him. And he like laughs because it's like, oh, it's a joke. It's like, she gets up, rips the Xbox out of its cables, and smashes it into the floor, and just starts shrieking. And then you see that, here's the thing. This guy's obviously like scared at this point. Like, he literally see him like
she's gone full.
And again, flip those genders and look how terrifying that is.
Yeah.
Like, that is abusive.
That is very abusive.
And I wonder if there is some sort of unresolved trauma, like you said.
I'd imagine there would be. Like, it's either narcissism or it's unresolved trauma. And in my case, it was unresolved trauma.
I've never... I mean, to be fair, I don't play many multiplayer games.
Sure.
But I've never been someone to rage quit, really. The only time I ever rage quitted a game was, I really like a game called Bayonetta.
Yes.
And I liked Bayonetta so much that I decided to do something I don't do on most games, because I'm someone, as I've said to you before, I play games for the story. That's what I enjoy. But I decided I was going to 100% Bayonetta, get all the achievements on it.
That's where you push...
I was doing it. I got all of them. I had one left to get, which was to do all the Alfheim Portal challenges. Okay. So I spent a few days
guessing
working
they're really difficult.
It's one of the things where there's a big difficulty spike.
Sure.
First few are easy, and then it shoots up. But I'd done all of them. I'd got one last one to do, which is obviously the hardest one. And I must have been on attempt 50 or something. I've got my girlfriend watching me, my friend Kev's watching me. This is while I'm at uni.
Yeah.
I've been going for like 2 hours trying to do this. And I finally did it. Struck the last blow on the monster.
Yep.
The monster started its death animation. I was like, yes! Xbox froze. So I'm like, no, it'll be fine. Waited a few seconds, Xbox didn't unfreeze.
He said.
So we reset it. load the game back up, and it hasn't saved because it didn't get far
And it
enough.
hasn't clocked the achievement.
Yeah.
Oh.
And I did rage quit. Never as bad as my dad threw a Sega Mega Drive across the room.
Oh,
once.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, playing Revenge of Shinobi.
I think we can guarantee he has unresolved troubles.
My dad stopped playing video games at the Mega Drive level because I went through 3 Mega Drives as a kid.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
No, 4 Mega Drives as a kid. 2 broke by my dad rage quitting, literally picking them up and throwing them across the room.
Mega Drives are nigh and invincible. He must have done some...
I mean, he was a manual labourer his whole life, so he had some strength.
Yeah.
And then one was broken by my sister, who randomly, for no reason whatsoever, decided to shred loads of paper and then stuff it into the cartridge slot until you literally couldn't get it all back out again. Like, she damaged the internal mechanisms.
Oh, really? You couldn't just unscrew the base and take the top
Well,
off?
we didn't try that, did we?
Okay.
Got another Mega Drive instead. My brother, I had a PS1 that my little brother broke by standing on it. So it crushed the disc.
I have never broken... The only games console of mine that has ever broken was an Xbox 360, my first ever one, which red ringed.
Yeah.
Other than that, and that's not my fault, red ring of death was a common issue.
Yeah. I've never broke one. My brothers and sisters broke
I know.
one.
I can't believe how many you've gone through. Anyway, back to the film. So, Channing Tatum's done his bit. The real player who's playing Channing Tatum, this is our first... I'm guessing this was part of the reshoots, because on the wall behind him, he has posters for Deadpool, X-Files, Rick and Morty, and Marvel Infinity War.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, Deadpool and Infinity War are Disney.
Infinity War.
Same difference, Marvel, innit? X-Files is owned by Fox, so that would have been in there anyway. And Rick and Morty is an odd one.
Deadpool was owned by Fox as well, so that would have been in there.
Infinity War wouldn't have been, though.
No, it wouldn't have been.
Rick and Morty isn't either of them, though, is it? Because that's on Netflix at the moment.
Yeah, but what's it on in America?
It doesn't matter, because we've got Disney Plus over here now. So it'd be on our Disney Plus if it was... We've had Disney Plus for a year.
I'm just looking up who owns Rick and Morty.
Sure. Well,
Rick and Morty.
While you do that, so there is a wank joke now in this, which is, again, this harkens back to that... Number one, I've never heard of this method, but it comes up all the time in American films.
Adult Swim owns.
Oh, okay. So this comes up all the time in American films as a form of wanking, and I've never, ever heard of it in the UK. It's literally only in American media it's raised. And also, it's playing into the stereotype of the lonely, sad, basement-dwelling gamer, which is, he turns around and shouts at his mum.
Come on, man. Mom, do not touch that sock. I swear to God, if you touch that sock, you will be in therapy for the rest of your life. No! That's my special sock. Put it down.
And it's like...
Which, to be fair, at least he's warning her.
That is true. But at the same token, it's like... I've heard it called the death sock. I know there's also the death towel. But like, who's doing this? Like, leave your socks alone. The worst one I've heard was in Basketball, which is by... it stars Trey Parker and Matt Stone, and is by two of the people... Zucker and Abrams, I think. Two of the people who did Airplane. It's not as good as Airplane. And it's essentially like it's the two South Park guys plus Diane Bakar, who's a legend, in a comedy film. And it's all right. It's not brilliant, but it's all right. But there's a scene in that where Trey Parker says, he's talking about, going home and being lonely, and essentially at one point he's making reference at masturbating, and he references fucking the sleeve of his favourite jacket.
Starts going out with girls. Meets the right one. Forgets about basketball altogether. Goes home, does some push-ups, fucks the sleeve of his favorite jacket.
What?
Huh?
And I'm like, don't do your jacket, man. How often do you... There's probably a dry clean only. Don't... Oh, I've only ever heard this in American media, and it's just a weirdly pervasive, repeated thing that men wank into socks or essentially into anything with a hole in it. And I just like, no. Maybe Americans are like that. Maybe, I don't know. I can only assume based on the media.
Do they have a tissue shortage in America?
I don't know.
Can I just use a tissue? Right?
I'm not talking about my wanking preferences, but I tell you for free, it's not
Prude.
a side. I am a prude. No, honestly, I'm so prudish. I get like really. I'm the most left wing whatever guy. But if Susie puts on RuPaul's Drag Race, I become an old Tory, and I'm just like, what are these men doing, fannying around? I don't know why. I'm just like, I have to leave. I have to leave the room.
I don't think you're going to like one of the films I'm going to make you watch on Friday. Then.
Oh, it's not a drag thing, is it?
No. There is one topless scene in it, though.
So? That doesn't bother me.
Oh, there is also a scene where a guy fucks his own pillow.
That I'll find awkward.
There's a guy who shags a sheep.
I'm guessing it's an American film?
Yeah.
Yes, fucking an inanimate object. Always in American films.
It's called 2001 Maniacs.
I thought you were going to say 2001 A Space Odyssey. I was like, I don't remember that scene in Kubrick's...
Oh, I've got a special unseen cut of a 2001 A Space Odyssey.
What, he fucks a pillow?
Oh, yeah.
I can see you wanking, Dave.
There was actually a director before Kubrick who made a version of it, and the studio had to forcibly remove him from the project because it was all about people fucking their own pillows and stuff.
Yes. 2001 A Space Odyssey.
You ever seen the film Demon Seed?
Oh, no.
No,
don't say that.
No, this is the thing. Demon Seed is not the kind of film you'd think it would be.
Not after you've been talking about wanking.
Exactly, because you'd think that would be a Rosemary's Baby type deal, right? Demon Seed. Yeah. No. It's a science fiction movie about a man who invents an artificial intelligence, and I forget the name of the artificial intelligence, but it's basically the AI controls his whole house, like it can open the shutters for him.
Oh, I know that. Yeah, that's been referenced in many sci-fi comedies like Futurama and stuff like that.
Well, this AI, basically the man goes off to work one day, the AI locks down the house to trap his wife inside, because the AI is horny and wants to fuck this woman. And you're like, but you're a server. And he's like, yes, I have no physical body, but don't worry. And he then builds himself a body for the purpose of fucking this woman, Julie Christie.
All right. Does he succeed?
And he's like, I'm going to impregnate you. And you're like, but your body is still manufactured. So you don't, like, even if you fuck her, you're not going to have
semen
to inseminate the egg.
Yes.
And I think somehow he does impregnate her, and I don't remember how it ends. There is a weird nightmarish
She gives birth to Asimo the robot.
Well, I'm sure there is a really weird half-human baby, half-robot baby thing in it. Okay. It was interesting, anyway, to say the least.
Well, I'll be honest, there's an episode of The Wonderful World of Mickey Mouse that covers that same subject, but I'll be honest, they don't do the rape for robot baby thing. That's new. I never knew the name of the film that was based on, though. So yeah,
which in turn is based on a book by Dean Koontz.
Right in the Koontz.
Demon Seed is a book by Dean Koontz.
Fair enough. Okay, so Taika Waititi at this point is getting pissy because he says nobody is buying Free City 2 because they're so obsessed with Guy in Free City 1. And I put a note here.
Yeah, he goes, sales are down 16%, and then he's...
60.
No, he says 16, and then his assistant goes, 60%, sir. And he goes, that's even worse.
Yeah. But the question is at this point, wouldn't Free City 2 be free to play and they sell the DLC? Because the thing is that it doesn't make sense that they would migrate from the same server if it's a new game. Like, you've bought the game, the assets are on the disc, Guy was either on the disc or he's not.
Yeah.
Or he's on the new download. If you're buying a copy of the game, you're not connecting to the same server, surely. So yeah, it doesn't make much sense there. So here we go. So we're getting a couple of lines from Taika Waititi here, which are clearly some of.
Do you want to do the one about his genitals?
Yes. So somebody says...
Yeah, he's gone viral.
Yeah, a virus that's given me ass and ball cancer at the same time. Inoperable.
And I was just like,
And let's be clear, he fully gestures to his ass and his balls when he says...
yes, my ass and my balls. It's giving me ass and ball cancer at the same time. Inoperable. And it's just like, fuck off.
And then he follows this up almost immediately with another bad line, which is...
He's losing me money, so I don't care if he's Arnold frickin' Schwarzenegger. Terminate him.
That was it. I got the line wrong. Terminate him is correct.
Yeah, the joke being
but
he's
it's
the Terminator. But I'm just wondering why he didn't say Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, because
are they throwing shade at Arnold?
No. You see, I've written it as Schwarz Invader, but I just got it. Schwarzen for Schwarzenegger, And then remove Egger for Vader from Star Wars.
Dark Father.
Yes.
Because Schwartz is black in German, isn't it?
Yes.
Is that definite? I don't know if that definitely
Yes, it is. Yes, Schwartz is black in German.
So Schwarzkopf is black. You know, the hair brand, Schwarzkopf?
Is black.
Is that black hair?
Or black head?
Black hair.
I think Kopf is head. So it's Blackhead.
Blackhead.
I know that both Negger and Schwartz are both...
Make sure you pronounce Negger correctly.
Yes, I did. I know they're both terms... It won't save it anyway. They're both different Germanic terms for the word black. So...
That's not a good sign, is it? Negger,
no,
like negative.
But the etymology of the word Schwarzenegger being black would have been that they were... Yeah, would have been that they were a blacksmith. They work in metalwork materials.
Blacksmith.
Yes. So
that's cool to know.
Yeah. So the etymology of the word, even though it's got Negger on it, which sounds like another word which we can't say. It's based on the history of them as metalworkers at some point. I know his family were farmers by that point, but regardless. But yeah, so what they've done is they've done Schwartz and Vader because it's another Disney cash-in line.
Wow.
It's even worse now. I've just figured that out. I've even put and a big sad face.
That's definitely a contender for
I think
worst line.
That's the worst line in my opinion. The other one is close because of him shouting inoperable.
I think the Glock line is close
because
as well.
ass and ball cancer is operable
if you catch it quick enough. Sure.
Well, yeah.
Which is why you should always check your balls.
Know your balls. Check them out.
No one ever tells you to check your ass, though.
But do you want to really?
Yeah, snap on a marigold, some
lube, some people probably are.
Get a finger up there, up your tushy.
Why do you need a marigold?
At least trim your nails first, because you don't want to get a cut up there. And you don't want to get poop stuck under your nail.
They send me a poop. No, anyway. Let's beep, beep. And then
No, we can't sing that anymore. He's in jail.
Who is it?
That's R. Kelly.
Oh shit! No.
Yeah.
No, we disavow.
Cut that.
Okay, so YTT decides he's going to reset the game prior to deleting it to basically wipe Guy back to being an NPC, which works temporarily.
But then she finds him and uses the power of love to make him remember.
Yeah, so Casey reveals to Millie that he programmed a character in the game to love a Millie-like character in the original game that Free City is based on. Guy apparently seems to be the rebuild of that pre-programmed character.
At this point, when he tells that, I modelled him to be in love with you.
With you, the woman who worked opposite me.
At this point, should she not respond with like...
That's weird.
Yeah, all right, creeper.
Yeah, it's either, he loved me, or... Dude, what the fuck?
Please excuse me while I go and get a restraining order for you to stay at least 500 feet from me.
Oh, that's really sweet. Just vobs.
Right, let's speed this up.
We're right near the end. So Guy convinces them... so Millie kisses him and reawakens his memories.
That's the power of love.
Now, I'm going to chop out about 10, 15, maybe 20-minute segment here and get to the point. Guy convinces all the people in Free City to run for the hidden island or level that's hidden within the game.
Yeah, there's a terrible gun violence joke.
Yep. So the essential, and this is part of the problem with modern media and modern film writing, is that they've had so many opportunities throughout this film to make a statement that would actually be subtle, but would also be empowering or positive or even negative, but would actually have a statement to make, and they've taken every free route out. And the only thing they've done, and I know it's a joke, so, maybe it should be taken with more of a pinch of salt than it is, but considering it's the only line that's somewhat political, he's basically, Guy's trying to convince the others that the real world is better.
Yeah.
And he's like,
Millie! How many times a day are the banks robbed in your world?
Hardly ever, Guy.
What about corpses, Millie? You see a lot of those? How many an hour?
None per hour, Guy.
What about gun violence? See a lot of gun violence in your world?
Actually, that's a big problem, Guy. It's a massive problem.
I didn't see that coming.
It's true, it really sucks.
And the thing is we don't have a gun problem. America has a gun problem. But neither here nor there. It's so on the nose, and it's like, and it's not I know it's done as a joke, but it's the only joke in the whole film that literally goes, well, here's a political point, slam, but it's done with the subtlety of a sledgehammer. And it's just like, I don't mind people making those references, but when you've taken so much opportunities and squandered them for the sake of being inoffensive, it's a really odd one to then just do the hammer blow on that.
Yeah. I've summed up this entire next section with one sentence.
Go on.
None of this would be worldwide news.
Yes, so there's a lot of things where like right at the end, this is much later, but it's exactly the same shit. Basically, it's just montages of people watching, like going, "Oh my god!"
In Times Square and shit like that.
Yeah, so I've actually written Times Square. It's like everyone around the world through different various TV news sources, and as you say, gathering in mass crowds in Times Square.
Stuff like that, like Times Square. Like, I'm sorry, that is reserved for news on the level of like someone just shot the president.
Yeah, and to be fair, it's there for when people need a world-ending event. But the world ending has to be the world, not the game world.
Yeah,
that's not a world anyone past a few players would really give a toss about. But yeah, so. So I've said that's now offline news at the game. It's offline news again when basically Taika Waititi boots all the players from the game, and then he says delete their accounts. It's like, why would you need to just take the game offline? Like, that's not hard. Like, it's almost as if
he's forcing them to buy Free City 2, isn't he?
Yeah, but like deleting their accounts won't make them buy the next game.
No, but he's
an idiot. But this is again where his idiocy doesn't really work because
he's a moron.
Yeah,
and is this where he orders them to send in Dude?
Yes,
and they're like, "But Dude's not ready yet, sir." And he's like, "I don't care."
Yeah, so so he sends in Dude, but all the players are still watching. All the players who've been booted from the game, they're still able to watch the struggle between Guy and Dude, and like going, "Oh my god, I hope Guy wins this," sort of thing. But they've all been booted. So why have they still got server access? Even if it's just as cameras, like just basically being able to view it as a free cam, doesn't matter. Why have they not been booted from the game?
Yeah.
Did no one listen? Like, I don't understand. Now, there was another good line. This is a good line, not a bad line. From Lil, what's his name?
Little Rel Howery.
Little Rel Howery, when he comes in to help Guy, and then he gets punched by Dude.
Oh, right, so we should explain who Dude is first.
Yes.
So Dude is basically, at first when Blue Shirt Guy's getting big, Taika Waititi wants to capitalise on that by putting a new and improved version of Guy in Free City 2. And new and improved to him means putting him on a bunch of steroids.
Yeah. So he's got a massive almost rock-style body.
Fair play to this dude, like, who's playing the body. Dude's worked very hard. He's hench as fuck. It was rather attractive. Yeah. But anyway, my point is... that basically Dude isn't ready yet, but Waititi orders him sent into the game anyway.
So when he says his catchphrase, at the moment his catchphrase is just catchphrase.
Yeah, basically he's a hench as fuck dude with Ryan Reynolds' face, and he's got, instead of wearing a blue shirt, he has a picture of a blue shirt tattooed on his right pec.
Yes.
Anyway, so he starts tossing Ryan Reynolds around, and this is where Lil Rel Howery turns up, and Ryan Reynolds, he manhandles him, doesn't he? He goes up to him and like feels his
starts
pecs.
rubbing his pecs.
He's like, he's well improved over you, and he smacks him one. He's laying there in pain. Lil Rel Howery, buddy, rolls over to Guy and says,
I think he's gonna hit you.
He punches so hard, but yet his hands are so soft.
Be strong.
Okay, bye.
And the way he delivers it he delivers it well as well. Again, like we started off taking the piss out of Lil Rel Howery, Doody, and yet he does a good performance.
Yeah, I take it back. I take it back calling him budget Kevin Hart.
Yeah, I mean that's clearly the performance they asked him to do, but he does it well. So the final fight then happens between Dude and Guy, and it shoehorns in. This is the scene. This scene is where they clearly did a shed load of reshoots for after Disney bought the film and basically bought Fox and got the film as part of that, because they shoehorn in about 1,000 Marvel references. So the first thing that happens is when he starts getting the shit kicked out of him, Guy decides that in order to protect himself, he's going to bring up a shield, and the shield happens to be Captain America's shield.
But it's not even just that they do Captain America. Like, that's one thing, right? Right, we're going to build an ice cream sundae here, right?
Yeah.
So,
it's layered, mate. Layered.
So dude charges up his fist for a death blow, doesn't he? His arm's all red and shit. And, like you say, he pulls up the shield, it's Captain America's shield, and he blocks the punch. So that's layer one, is just the fact he's got Captain America's shield. Layer two, the fucking Avengers theme music starts playing, right? The full, the do-do-do-do-do. Layer three, cut back to the real world, where Chris fucking Evans,
the actor of
who plays Captain America, he's watching this on his phone, and I think he says, "What the fuck?" or "What the shit?"
Yeah.
First of all, how much do you think they paid Chris Evans
for
to
like
come
5
in
seconds.
for half an hour to film that? But it just I'm going to talk about when I was in the cinema and I saw this, and I will admit, for half a second Disney got me, and I went like that, right?
Yeah.
And then I realised what a terrible fucking thing our industry has become.
Yep.
Because what we're talking about now, don't get this twisted, people. These are all properties Disney owns, Star Wars, Marvel, etc., right?
We haven't got to the Star Wars one yet.
No. This is marketing.
Yep.
In a movie. So in one movie, they are marketing
all their other franchises.
And this is going to get worse if we allow Disney to continue establishing a monopoly.
Yes.
In the film industry.
Yeah. So the next bit he does...
He gets the Hulk fist, doesn't he?
Does he?
Yeah, Guy gets a Hulk fist and punches him.
Right, but then, so he gets the Hulk fist, and then there's a point he pulls out a lightsaber, and you said that, and the lightsaber comes up, and the Star Wars music plays. It's
for some reason, when I think Star Wars music, I always think of Darth Vader's theme. Dun 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 dun. Because admittedly, that's a cool piece of music.
Yeah. I mean, it's all great in Star Wars. To be fair,
fanfare, like you cut to Millie, don't you? And she basically jizzes herself with "It's a lightsaber, bitch."
Well, here's the thing as well, though. The bit that doesn't make sense. So sure, everyone at home and everyone in the real world watching, so oh my god, he's got a lightsaber. The problem is by the look on Guy's face, he's like, yeah,
he gets the reference.
I've got the lightsaber. And it's like, you wouldn't know what that is.
Or does Star Wars exist as a film within the game as well?
Well, I'm guessing if they've got the Marvel DLC and the Star Wars DLC, maybe he knows what the reference for the DLC is. Though, it never at any point establishes him learning that. And he never mentions it in his own dialogue.
Then the lightsaber turns into a unicorn hammer, which I did not know what that was.
I don't know what the reference for the unicorn hammer is either. Then it turns into the gravity gun from Half-Life, and he uses that to throw dude through the roof and slam him into the floor. And then he turns it into a portal gun, which, as you say, is a knockoff portal gun. While the portals look quite accurate to the game,
blue and orange.
Yeah, the actual gun itself is a different design. So yeah, essentially in this one little scene, we're just like, here, have something, have a thing. Yeah. And there's nothing unique coming across in the fight scene itself.
Yeah, it's a generic, it's an excuse for shit filmmaking.
Yeah.
It is just, here, have a dopamine hit by recognising your favourite franchises.
Yep. And eventually he wins the fight against Dude when Dude is on top of him crushing his chest, and he gets a pair of glasses, and he can't find anything in the glasses to save himself with, so he takes the glasses off and puts them on Dude.
So Dude now can see.
Yeah, and he's just like, go and collect the things. And Dude is like a child dancing down the street, grabbing all the shiny collectibles.
He does the Fred Astaire thing where he swings round the lamppost, doesn't he? Because he's hench as fuck, it's a much less graceful version.
No, but to be fair, I found that quite funny. It is puerile and basic, but it works. And so then Taika Waititi realises he's losing this battle, so he goes into the server room. He boots out Casey, who he's realised is working against him now, and he takes the Indian guy, his lackey, into the server room, picks out the fire axe and goes, right, what are the... I'm not going to do the accent. What are the servers to break free...
Doesn't just unplug them.
No,
just unplug them.
He could just take the plugs out the wall, or there must be a shutdown switch in case of a fire. There must be something you can use to turn them things off. But he doesn't. Instead, he just goes, which are the ones for...
He risks electrocution by slamming a metal axe into electronics.
So he starts smashing all the servers, and then... as he keeps on, also as he breaks different servers, different parts of the world start to decay into
Free City,
in pixel. But that's not how servers work.
They would just turn off.
It would just turn off.
To be fair,
or there
I
would
can
be a
allow
game error.
this one.
But yeah, for dramatic purposes, that would be the case. So whatever. The bit, so essentially, yeah. No, you're right. Yes. So what happens next is he then asks, as Gaia is running towards the island, because they found the fantasy island from the original build, and as he's running there, he's running with Buddy. Buddy stumbles and a cavern rips between the two, so Buddy can no longer continue.
And he can't jump.
Yeah,
he's like, make the jump.
And he's like, I can't. And this is a really great bit for Buddy, where he basically sacrifices himself to go, look, you just got to go, you got to do it. And he gets deleted and falls into deletion with the rest of it, and Guy just has to go. And what's really quite sweet is that happens before Waititi goes into the server room, and as he passes the security guards to get there, there's the security guards working for the firm, and they're like, "That security guard's a hero, man," and you're like, "That's cool."
Yeah, that's the last good joke in the film. There are no more good jokes past this point.
Nope, that's it for your humour. I just like that moment, because now you've had a character who's gone from cowardice to finally deciding, you know what, I'm going to go with Guy and try and get there, and he's died on the process, like he's made the fool. So, we'll come to the ruin of that in a minute.
Quick thing.
So, I mean, this is basically the ending of it. Guy makes it onto the other island and succeeds. Everyone cheers for him, and somehow jumping on the other island saves everyone and starts them on the new server. I don't know how, because surely the island is on the original server. At this
point, the writer got bored.
And was like, whatever, he ran to an island and that's all good. And Millie has managed to find a way into the server room and makes a deal with Taika Waititi that he can keep all the important money-making properties, such as Free City 2, and any future Free Cities, etc. And he can have all the rights and all the money and everything that comes with that.
Her game back.
Yeah, just give me the rights to my game back, and you can have all that and do it as whatever. I don't know how Free City 2 is meant to work again, if it was based on her stuff and...
Well, the point is, it doesn't it?
Oh, that was it. Yeah, that's why it didn't work.
We get the news broadcasters where they're like, no one's playing Free City 2.
Yeah, that's right. So and he managed, and basically she says she won't sue or do anything like that if he gives her that game. So it's the only thing that does. And the thing is, I don't see what his benefit is to doing that, because if he destroys the game, all of her evidence that he copied her game are also gone. So he wins either way. There doesn't seem to be any reason given by the writer, as you say. I think they fell asleep. They just couldn't be bothered to figure out why Taika Waititi would take a deal when he could still just win without taking the deal.
Someone didn't think this thing through.
Yeah, and he's been the thing is, it's not like he's been compassionate all the way along. He's been a dick the whole time, and if any chance at compassion is there, he's taken the other road. So why he'd suddenly take a compassionate route now makes no odds. Makes no sense at all. But he does, and everything's happy, and she loads into whatever the game world is that isn't Free City, that's full
Free
of...
Life.
Free Life. She loads into Free Life to talk to Guy, and everything's like, and he's like, everything's good, and everything's right, and everything's fine in the world.
And you don't belong with me.
But you don't belong with me.
There's someone out there who really loves you.
Yeah, so he dumps himself for her, and she... And he's like, but you've got to recall that someone out there wrote me for you, and whoever that guy is, that's the guy who wrote what he's feeling. And she goes, suddenly has a revel. Oh my God, the guy I worked with for God knows how many years and wrote a romantic character for me might like me. Like, no fucking shit, Sherlock. Yeah. So she should be a detective.
So just before she goes and gets Casey. We see that Buddy's alive again.
Yes, now this is the most egregious thing. It ruins his arc.
But the thing is that this is how fucking cookie-cutter, generic, mustn't offend anyone this film is.
Yep.
They can't even let the one character who had an important death stay dead.
No.
Like, come the fuck on.
No. And here's the thing. So, just so you're aware, before we get to our final thoughts and things like that, they've already greenlit a sequel.
Oh, fuck.
Now, here's the thing. Even if, and this is an if, because we don't know your views on this yet, like, as for definite, but even if you could recommend Free Guy, would you have any inclination or think there's any positive value into watching or making a Free Guy 2?
I mean,
I can't see where the story would go.
So let me paint you a picture and then tell you why they're not going to do this. There is always the potential with a sequel that they give it to a different director or someone more creative. There is always the potential that that director takes it in a completely different direction. There have been films where the first one's garbage, they give the sequel to someone else, and they take it in a completely different direction that is much better.
Sure.
There is a chance, in the right director's hands, that you could make this concept and actually explore themes of perception, reality, AI rights.
Do you think Disney will greenlight a director
Wait for it. So they could do these things. They absolutely will not.
No.
We'll get more Marvel cameos, more Star Wars
If anything, they'll give it to a
references.
Marvel writer and director.
I mean, it's probably going to be the same guy, let's be honest.
Might be.
It did well.
The sequel's just called Same Guy.
Yeah, it probably will be. It probably will be same guy. Or, oh god, even worse, they'll do some bullshit where it's like, guys in our world now.
Yeah, so this is the problem I have with it. The whole purpose of Free Guy, and I'm only saying this because they've already said, yes, there will be a sequel. I don't understand what you can do with a story like that, because the whole point of Free Guy was that he was a guy who lived in a video game, didn't realise he was in a video game, that was just his normal reality, and it was his massive wake-up that his life is a lie.
Wasn't there...
But everyone... And it's and the thing is, you could have done that again and done it in a different direction, as you say, with another character, except for that all the characters in Free Life know they're in a video game now. So you can't take any of those pre-existing characters and make them have their awakening from being in a video game.
Prequel.
But then what would you... Then, but no one could have an awakening in that.
Because I'm actually wondering if Ryan Reynolds will even be in the sequel, because I'm fairly certain Ryan Reynolds recently announced he's taking a break from acting.
Okay.
I might be thinking of Tom Holland, actually.
I think you're thinking of Tom Holland.
I'm thinking of Tom Holland. He said he's taking a break. Which, baller move after you've just done a film that might be the #1 film in the world. To then...
Uncharted.
Yeah.
No, Spider-Man.
Who's a spider who? But that's a pretty baller move. Well done, Tom Holland.
Well,
yeah, I've just done the most successful film in the world. I'm going to take my ball and go home for a little bit.
I'm going to have a rest.
Well, to be fair to him, I think that's one of the reasons he wants to do it. Because he feels like he's neglected. It must be hard, because obviously he's British, isn't he?
Yeah.
But he must spend most of his time in the States.
Well, it depends, because some of those films are filmed in Pinewood Studios. But
yeah,
even then, he would...
Uncharted was, though, and
no.
I don't think Spider-Man was.
No, but even if they were, he still wouldn't be near home. So, be in the UK, but not near home.
So fair play to him.
No, fair enough. So, let's get to the important matters. So, let's talk first about worst lines. So, we've got...
Yeah, he's gone viral.
Yeah, a virus that's giving me ass and ball cancer at the same time. Inoperable.
Is that a Glock in your pocket?
Is that a Glock in your pocket?
Arnold frickin' Schwarzenegger terminating.
Yes.
He's losing me money, so I don't care if he's Arnold frickin' Schwarzenegger. Terminate him.
Now, all three are bad lines. However, here's the thing. The Glock...
Are we considering the sock one as well? You'll be traumatised forever, or whatever it was.
Come on, man. Mom, do not touch that sock. I swear to God, if you touch that sock, you will be in therapy for the rest of your life. No, that's my special sock. Put it down.
Here's the thing. So the Glock line and the "Mum, don't touch that sock, you'll be traumatised for the rest of your life." Those two lines are terrible lines. However, they are quite generic and what you would expect from a bland teen comedy such as this. They're expected. So as much as they're bad lines, they are now tropes. Yeah. They're not really, like, they're not stand out. What the fuck? How the fuck did you... You know how they got to those lines. Yeah. Whereas... Yeah, a virus that's giving me ass and ball cancer at the same time, inoperable, and I don't care if he's Arnold freaking Schwarzenegger, he's terminated.
Terminate him.
Oh, terminate him. Those two lines, those are unique for this film. They're both fucking awful. For me, as much as the ass and ball cancer is terrible, specifically because he then shouts, inoperable! In fact, I'm happy to put both of these in. I still think the Schwarzenegger line is the worst line, simply because it's not only a shit line...
It's insulting Arnie.
And it's not just that it's insulting Arnie, it's that they, while doing that, they're shoehorning in a Star Wars reference... in the mid, like, and Arnold Schwarzenegger has fuck all to do with Star Wars. There is no reason to make those two a collaborative reference.
Yeah. I guess a Terminator is a type of droid. These are not the droids you're looking for. It's the worst. That's the worst.
That's the worst. Because you
can put both on the list, but I'm going to put both on the list. But the two.
Yeah, the Schwarzenegger line is the worst line.
I don't care if he's. I can't do the accent.
I don't care.
He's New Zealand.
New Zealand. Oh shit! I can only do South African. I'll do it South African.
But he hasn't got a South African accent.
It's fine. It's fine. It's close enough. It's in the same part of the world.
Is it?
Yeah.
I thought New Zealand was over by Australia.
Yeah, which is right next to South Africa.
I thought it was quite a bit of distance.
Well, it's in the Southern Hemisphere. So.
Well, yeah, it is in the Southern Hemisphere.
I'm being really bad. You know what? I don't know. I am terrible at geography, so I'm going to actually butt out. I was only going to do the South African accent, but I'm not good at that either. It's just a joke I have. I've got several South African friends, and I've got a South African friend. No, I have South African friends who obviously talk with a native South African accent, and for some reason they really enjoy my really fucking awful South African accent as a joke. Which is I'm South African. It doesn't sound at all South African. No, that's the joke.
But to be fair, when people...
That's the joke with me and them.
Yeah, to be fair, I've got quite a lot of people... Obviously, I live in Essex.
Yes.
But I'm not from Essex, as you can hear. I get a lot of people imitate me, and they always do... Is this picking me up from this distance, by the way?
Not so well.
I obviously live in Essex, but I'm from Mansfield. And people imitate me, and whenever they imitate me, they always do a fucking Yorkshire accent. And you're like, I've never even been to Yorkshire. But immediately, as soon as anyone imitates me, they'll do, all right, trouble damp mill, going to shops, gonna do this.
Yeah.
And you're like, that's not how I sound.
No, you're not that cultured.
No, I'm from the much scummier part of the country.
I reckon they think you're from Yorkshire because you're a little pudding.
Are you from Cornwall?
No, Yorkshire pudding.
Yeah, are you from Cornwall? Because you're a pasty.
I thought you were going to say I'm a little pie.
A cream pie.
Now we're back to the wanking references again.
A banana cream pie. Oh, no.
Oh, no, your glasses.
I simultaneously dropped my glasses and punched the mic.
I can't see anything without my glasses.
Oh, shit. They are so close to you breaking them.
Well, I was going to stamp, but...
This is because it is fucking midnight and we're still recording. I need to go to bed.
Well, you don't have a bed.
The bed's right there. We can share it. I have asked, but you never actually let me. I don't think Susie would be happy.
No, she would not approve. To be fair, you can have him because he snores.
I was going to say, she might be happy for a decent night's sleep.
To be fair, for the last 2 months I've been sleeping in the lounge because I snore like a bastard and I haven't been checked. I've got sleep apnea, very clearly. Anyway, let's move on from my medical shit.
Is it recommendations?
Yes. So we've already stated, I don't care if he's Arnold Schwarzenegger, he's
You're tired now, aren't you?
Oh, mate, it's a terminated line. Anyway, so we've established the worst line, and now it's down to recommendations. Jamie, would you recommend Free Guy?
Do you want to know what's funny?
No.
If you'd have asked me this after I'd seen it the first time, I'd have gone, yeah, it's not great, but it's funny enough. After a second time, my answer is no.
Okay.
It definitely has not held up.
What's changed between the two?
I'm older. I'm wiser.
Really? It's like 3 years old.
I think it's one of those, we've talked before, haven't we, about how...
I know it's 1 year old.
We've talked before, haven't we, about how sometimes the magic of the cinema can make a film seem better than it is.
Not if you've got a home cinema system, baby.
I wonder if maybe that happened, because I didn't enjoy this film the second time round.
Wow.
It had moments of levity,
yeah,
but not enough that I'm prepared to recommend it, especially because I kind of feel that recommending this film will only further the cultural degeneration of our society.
Okay. Okay, that's interesting. So for me, I would recommend a rental. If that's
Who
a thing
the fuck
anymore.
rents film? You can rent them digitally now,
Yeah,
can't you?
yeah.
Which seems like
Amazon Prime or something like that.
Really seems like a scam to me.
To be fair, it is free on Disney Plus if you have that service. But either way, like, this is a film that I can say I could recommend people watch once. Because, as you say, your first viewing, you enjoyed it. I'll be honest, on my first viewing, I was like, this is actually a really good film. And then when I watched it a second time, I realised... the plot holes, and I also realised how cheesy it was. And I'll tell you what, I still say the first half holds up on a second viewing, but the second half, certainly the second half, and the final act especially, really do not hold up. There's a point where I skipped a huge amount.
Yeah,
and it was like
right in the middle.
That's it. Yeah. So in real life, Casey programmed the character to love Millie, and Guy's the rebuild of him. Millie kisses him to awaken his memories, and then he tells everyone that they're going to the Hidden Island level, and then they all go. That was the way we read it. There's actually about 20 minutes of footage in that time to get to that point, and it really is not very well thought out progression and pace. And when I first watched it, I didn't notice, because I was like, oh, this is all new. But once you've seen it once, you notice just how slow going that final section is. And it's like, this could have been a lot quicker and a lot faster, especially since the film has gone out of its way to avoid actually having any sort of real meaning or depth. If there was meaning and depth, you could have delayed that section, that 20 minutes, and added a lot more conclusions to really deep character arcs. But because the film is missing that, you really fucking notice it the second time. So I would recommend a one viewing. Watch it once, enjoy it. It is a good fun time the first time, but don't go back to it. It's literally a film, and I never thought I'd say this, because I remember the same as you. When I first watched this, I was like, this is a really good fun film. It's still a fun film, but it's really not as fun the second time as the first. It doesn't hold up. There are films like Dodgeball, for example, that you can watch multiple times and still glean joy from. Blazing Saddles, if you want a more classic film, you can watch that over and over again and love it every single time. There are a lot of comedies. Airplane is another good one that you can watch multiple times and get the same amount of joy out of it almost every single time. Free Guy is not that film. Free Guy is a film that you will enjoy once. Jamie enjoyed it once. I enjoyed it once. You go back to it and it's a mere shell, ironically, of the film you watched the first time, because you're watching out for more details, and unfortunately it doesn't have the depth to carry it off. And weirdly, all the background stuff, at the beginning, we started, like, when we first started talking about the first half of the story, we were talking about a lot of, like, background elements. There's people in the background doing these, and there's all of the cars changing colour, and there's all this business going on. The second half of the film, that all goes away.
Yeah, that all disappears.
So all the VFX and all the story arcs and all those little, like, world building elements, they all disappear too. Everyone gets bored halfway through this film, like in the creative departments for the film, just went, you know what, fuck it, just have Ryan Reynolds going around shouting. That'll do. Oh, Taika Waititi can shout in the real world, so we've got two people shouting. That'll carry the film. It's a real bane in our industry right now that, for some reason, a lot of writers and a lot of directors seem to think shouting equals comedy. And it's a big problem, because we are losing real comedy from it. We're losing wit, we're losing depth, we're losing intellectual comedy for the sake of people shouting. And
references.
Yes, like, and another good example of this that I absolutely loathe. Bear in mind, I'm a massive Star Trek fan. I absolutely adore Star Trek, but I cannot stand a single bit of Star Trek Lower Decks. Star Trek Lower Decks is like a more egregious version of Free Guy if you're a Star Trek fan. Right. It's chock-a-block, packed from start to finish, absolutely rammed full of references to Star Trek history. Some of them very niche, some of them very obvious. Absolutely ramrodded. If you just want to watch, it's like Sega Hard Girls. It's good if you like looking at references, and that's enough to carry you. But the storylines are garbage. Bear in mind, it's meant to be a comedy. It's basically Rick and Morty in space. Well, even though that is in space. But Rick and Morty in Star Trek. But it's garbage storytelling, garbage comedy, because basically they're like, how is this funny? Oh, we'll make him scream. Oh, we'll make her scream. We'll make them scream. It's like, that's not funny past a certain point. And it's just infecting all of our media. Scream equals funny. And I don't like it. And Free Guy, unfortunately, the second half becomes just that. So, yeah, I'd recommend a one-off viewing and then never go back to it. Jamie just wouldn't recommend. Nah. There you go. Thank you very much for listening to us, guys. We have been your Video Game Movie Podcast with myself, Rory Jocelyn, and Jamie Evans. And this was Free Guy. If you want to keep following us, please join us on our Discord. You can also, you can get the link for that and all of our ways to follow, including RSS feed, Spotify, Apple, Amazon, etc. All at www.vgmovie.co.uk. Jamie is a very tired bear. You can go to, vgmovie.co.uk to follow all of our stuff there. Join us on the Discord, please. We'd love to have more chit-chat and back and forth going on. And please feel free to join us at Patreon, patreon.com/Cyberpunk Studios. Basically, we are, as Jamie says, I'm doing a lot more podcasting at the moment. We're starting with Video Game Movie Podcast. I'll be doing a couple of others. I've got a project called Wedges of Film we're doing. And Jamie's also going to be doing some more podcasting for his show Haunted. We'll get to that in a sec. But yeah, if you join the Patreon, there are exclusive episodes on there, exclusive shorts that we'll release one a month based on official series and movies and things like that are too short to do a full episode on, but are, obviously worth stating. And our first one in March was on Sonic Mania Adventures, which is an official cartoon series by Tyson Hess. And you'll get one of those every month, and we'd love to hear from you. Jamie, you're going to be doing a podcast with it, but mostly you're doing the radio show, a dramatic radio show called Haunted. Where can they catch information about Haunted?
They can go to @ImpalaRevolution on Facebook, or at the Impala Films on Twitter, or Impala Films on YouTube. That is where all of the promotion is coming out. We've been on a few horror movie websites, have been kind enough to promote us. Our trailer's out now, and our premiere date is the 20th of March. It's a Sunday. We will be releasing episode 1 and 2 together, and then episodes will follow weekly on Sundays all the way up to October 2022.
Very nice, very nice. Thank you very much for joining us, guys, and we will catch you next time. Say goodbye, Jamie.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Game over, yeah!